My name is Tang Yinyan. I woke up to sharp pain in my head and the sound of people arguing. I was confused and disoriented until I realized something shocking. I wasn't dead. I had died in the apocalypse, surrounded by zombies, but now I was in a different world. I recognized the scene. It was from a novel I'd read about a girl with the same name as mine. That girl lived a tragic life as a scapegoat for the main character's success. Now I was her. The argument was about me. I had fallen into a river and been saved by a man, and now my fiancé's family wanted to break off the engagement, calling me unclean. My so-called best friend had spread rumors, and my fiancé, Chiguohua, stood silently by. I remembered how their family once clung to mine for help, and now, with his career taking off, they were abandoning me. But I refused to follow the original path of this story. I wouldn't be a victim. I walked up to Chiguohua's sister, Chiguo-chun, the snake who betrayed me, and knocked her out before carrying her to the river. Everyone followed, shocked and scared. Without hesitation, I threw her into the water. She's in the same situation as me now, I said to the crowd. So, is she also unclean? The villagers stood in stunned silence. If falling into the river made me unworthy, then by their logic, Chiguo-chun should face the same judgment. I felt the fire of defiance burn in my chest. I wouldn't be a side character in someone else's happy story. I would fight for myself. My fate was in my hands now, and no one could make me a pawn again. I woke up with my head throbbing and my body weak, but I knew one thing. I wasn't the old Tang Yinyan anymore. When Chiguo-chun started to sink after I threw her into the river, her family panicked. Chiguohua, my so-called fiancé, rushed to save her, but I stopped him with a sharp kick to his stomach. His mother was screaming, but I didn't care. The crowd was stunned. I found a lazy man from the village, promised him a wife if he saved her, and he jumped into the water, without hesitation. He dragged Chiguo-chun out and performed mouth-to-mouth, which meant she was no longer clean by their ridiculous standards. After all, if falling into a river made me unworthy, what about her being touched and kissed by a stranger? Chiguo-chun woke up, horrified to find herself kissed by that old bachelor. She screamed, tried to fight, but it was too late. Everyone had seen it. The villagers, who loved gossip more than facts, quickly caught on. Even my little cousin shouted about her being a broken shoe. I made it clear I wouldn't marry into their rotten family, even if they begged me. Chiguohua called me cruel, but I hit him with the truth. I was pushed into that river, and I knew it wasn't an accident. His guilty expression confirmed it. That was enough for me. My head was spinning from fever, but anger gave me strength. I slapped him across the face, again and again, releasing all the rage from my past and this new life. I wasn't here to be a victim. I'd rewrite this story my way, with my fists if necessary. I finally pieced everything together. Chiguohua and Yang Hongling had been having an affair and didn't want to take the blame for breaking off the engagement. So, they set me up, pushed me into the river, and had a scoundrel rescue me to ruin my reputation. I was furious. I didn't hold back and beat Chiguohua until he cowered like a dog. The villagers whispered about how weak he was and how shameless his family had become. His family's plan fell apart. They wanted to cancel the engagement quietly and announce his new relationship with that so-called city girl later. Instead, I exposed their dirty deeds in front of everyone. His sister Chiguochun's innocence was gone after the rescue, and their family was now the joke of the village. Chiguohua's father tried to talk his way out of it, saying it was all a misunderstanding. I wasn't buying it. I announced I was the one who wanted to end the engagement. Their family was a mess, and I wouldn't marry into it even if they begged me. My grandmother backed me up, saying even dogs deserved better. Then I brought up the debt. Over the years, they had borrowed a lot from us. Money, supplies, even simple items like notebooks and pencils. I demanded repayment. 109 yuan and 2 cents. Chiguo-chun tried to play innocent, but I listed everything out loud. The villagers heard every word and looked at her with disgust. I left with my family, my head pounding from fever, but my heart lighter. Chi's family stood there, soaked and humiliated. I knew they wouldn't give up easily, but I wasn't scared. I had survived zombies. Dealing with these petty, scheming people would be easy. Let them try. I was ready. When I got home, I collapsed on the bed and slept like the dead. I woke up at dawn to the sound of the village clock. My fever was gone, but my stomach was empty. I searched the kitchen, found nothing, and thought about the supplies I had in my space from the apocalypse. Suddenly, 10 small bread rolls appeared on my bed. My space ability was here with me. Seeing all the supplies I had collected made me feel confident. Surviving in 1976 during food shortages would be much easier now. After eating, I lay down and plan my future. Beat the bad guys, get money, and get into Fudan University when the college entrance exams return next year. But first, I needed to get back the jade gourd my useless sister gave away. The gourd activates the spirit spring space, and if the novel's timeline is right, I can still stop the female lead, Lu Jinglan, from claiming it with her blood. I knew Lu Jinglan's tricks. She was a scheming green tea who pretended to be pure while using men to climb the social ladder. In the novel, she ended up with wealth, influence, and a devoted husband, while the original me died miserably. Not this time. Meanwhile, Lu Jinglan and her sidekick Yang Hongling were panicking after my river stunt. They didn't expect me to fight back and win. The other educated youths already saw Yang Hongling as trouble and kept their distance. I didn't wait. I stormed to their dormitory early in the morning, kicking the door open. The other youths jumped back in fear when they saw me. I wasn't here to chat. I came to take back what was mine. I showed up at the educated youth dormitory, and the moment Yang Hongling saw me, she tried to run. Her cousin Lu Jinglan stopped her, pretending to be calm and innocent. She even tried to act friendly, saying they were planning to visit me. As if I believed that. I didn't bother arguing. I accidentally bumped into Yang Hongling, sending her flying out the door. I followed her outside and gave her a solid beating. My hands moved on their own, left, right, until her swollen face looked like a pig's head. The villagers gathered, whispering, but no one dared step in. I didn't care. This was personal. These two set me up, ruined my reputation, and tried to destroy my life. I made it clear, no one touches what's mine, even if it's trash like Qiguohua. The other educated youths scrambled to distance themselves, except for Higuaqing, who ran to get the village chief. The chief showed up with my family. I stood my ground. I reminded everyone of my late grandfather's bravery during the war and how our village wouldn't tolerate betrayal. The crowd agreed. Tang Village had its pride. Then Lu Jinglan spoke up, trying to protect her cousin. She put on a pitiful act about us bullying them. I fired back, accusing them of stealing from me. She denied it, but I saw the panic in her eyes. I grabbed her collar and yanked. Her coat buttons popped off, revealing the jade gourd around her neck. My jade gourd. The one that controls the spirit spring space. So, this was why she'd been growing prettier and stronger. She stole what belonged to me. My eyes turned cold. This fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. Yin, how come your gourd is hanging on her? You are shameless. Are you here to be an educated youth or a thief? The elder sister steals people, and the younger sister steals things. Your family is a den of thieves. Old Mrs. Tang recognized the jade gourd at a glance. It was handed to her by Tang Nianyan's biological parents, along with 1,000 yuan and 500 kilograms of national food coupons. With this money and food coupons, the Tang family survived the famine. Tang Nianyan has been wearing this jade gourd since she was a child, but 2 years ago, this girl said that she wanted to live a hard and simple life and took the jade gourd away. She didn't pay attention and let this shameless thief educated youth steal it. The villagers stared at Lu Jinglan in unison. Their eyes were like knives, and there were a few malicious eyes staring at her exposed neck. Lu Jinglan was flustered and didn't even bother to button her collar. Her mind raced as she thought of a reason. She said that the jade gourd was a family heirloom. This type of jade gourd was not rare, and it wasn't just Tang Nianyan who had it. But before she could speak, another voice spoke first. This is my birthday gift for Comrade Lu. This jade gourd is a family heirloom. The person who spoke first was He Guiqing. He couldn't bear to see his beloved being embarrassed, so he took the jade gourd. He thought the same as Lu Jinglan. It was just an ordinary jade gourd. Could it be that it was engraved with Tang Nianyan's name? Lu Jinglan breathed a sigh of relief and looked through He Guiqing with gratitude. He Guiqing straightened his back, immersed in the pride of being a hero saving a beautiful woman, and didn't notice a sad and lost look in the crowd. It was Tang Nianyan's stupid elder sister Tang Wujin. Is it your family's inheritance? Your last name is He, right? Tang Nianyan asked with a sneer. Before He Guiqing could answer, the other educated youths nodded one after another. Since your last name is He, why is the word Tang, which means Tang, engraved on the jade gourd that was passed down from your family? Tang Nianyan grabbed the jade gourd from Lu Jinglan's neck and saw the word Tang engraved on the bottom. The team leader took it and saw the word Tang, and his face immediately darkened. There must be no thieves in the village. This He Guiqing must be severely punished. I was wrong just now.
It was
Tang Wujin who gave it to me. Really, she gave it to me. He Guiqing's face turned pale. He no longer had the heart to be a hero and save the beauty. He had to protect himself now. Otherwise, he would not be able to save his life if he was sent to the farm for reform. Although Tang Wujin was very sad, he could not watch his sweetheart being sent to the farm to suffer, so he opened his mouth to admit it. A murderous look shot over. It was old lady Tang. Tang Wujin opened her mouth, but closed it again. The person she feared most at home was her grandmother. She didn't dare to admit it in front of her grandmother, or she would be beaten to death. He Guiqing looked at Tang Wujin with hope, but he was disappointed. He shouted in despair, Tang Wujin, why didn't you say it? It was obviously you who gave it to me. I didn't steal it. Do you still want me to marry you? Tang Wujin's mind moved, and she opened her mouth again. She liked He Guiqing so much. He was gentle and handsome, and he wore glasses. He looked like a cultured man, much better than the young men in the village. Old Lady Tang poked her in the lower back hard and warned her with a fierce glare. Tang Wujin closed her mouth again. You shameless thief. You still want to marry my granddaughter? Bah, dogs have more shame than you. Old Lady Tang put her hands on her hips and cursed. Grandma, don't insult dogs all the time. Tang Nianyan straightened her face and corrected her word by word. Her grandmother's habit of using dogs as an analogy is really bad. She must change it. The corners of Old Lady Tang's mouth twitched. She was too lazy to bother with this dead girl, and all her firepower was directed at He Guiqing and Lu Jinglan. With her invincible ability to scold the entire team, the old lady dug out and whipped the corpses of the 18 generations of the He family, the Yang family, and the Lu family.
dogs.
Pigs have more shame than you, either stealing people or selling their bodies. Are you sisters from a brothel? And you, a toad, a useless who can't lift anything. How can you have the face to marry my granddaughter? Even a sow that has given birth to 18 litters won't marry you. Old Lady Tang was full of firepower. Her demeanor was no less than that of the past, and she was considered enough to avoid being corrected by Tang Nianyan again. The team leader finally spoke. It's time to go to work. Don't just stand here. Hurry up. The villagers were reluctant to leave. They hadn't seen enough of such a wonderful show. Third uncle, Yang Hongling deliberately pushed me into the river, causing me to have a high fever and almost die. Now I am still weak all over, with a headache and a swollen brain. She has to pay me for my medical expenses and medical fees, 100 yuan. Tang Nianyan's voice was very loud. She had just spent so much energy beating someone up, so she had to eat something good to replenish herself. She wanted to eat meat. Braised pork, big elbow, steamed pork with rice flour, dried vegetable meat. She wanted to eat all of them. I didn't push you, I slipped. Yang Hongling refused to admit it, and her words were leaking. Tang Nianyan was too lazy to fight again. With the 100 yuan hanging in the balance, Old Lady Tang and her adoptive mother Su Jinfeng would definitely do their best to collect the debt. Slip your mother. You did it on purpose. Poor my Nian Nian had a fever of 50 degrees and almost went to see Marks. Look at her little face. It's whiter than a dead person. It's all your fault. Pay me. Old Lady Tang scolded with full force. Daughter-in-law Su Jinfeng followed closely, cursing even more harshly. Although the relationship between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was not good, they were absolutely united in dealing with the outside world, especially in debt collection. The villagers looked silently at Tang Nianyan, who was full of energy and had a rosy face, and kept silent. Everything that should and should not be said was said by the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, so they should just shut up. Su Jinfeng pressed Yang Hongling's shoulders and shook her left and right, just like her Kong shaking Ziwei. Pay back the money, you shameless. Give me 100 yuan. I'll give it to you. Stop shaking. Yang Hongling succumbed to the tyranny of the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law and agreed to pay the money. But she had no money on her, so Jinglan helped me give it to them first. Yang Hongling looked at her cousin. Her tone was matter-of-fact, and Lu Jinglan was bitter. The precious jade gourd was gone, and her heart was more uncomfortable than a large piece of meat was dug out. This idiot also asked her to take 100 yuan, and she only had a total of 500 yuan. Lu Jinglan didn't know what happened. Ever since the jade gourd was taken away, she felt empty inside, as if she had lost something very, very important. She wanted to get it back, but she didn't have the courage to do so in front of the whole village. She would find a way to get it later, and this jade gourd must not fall into Tang Nianyan's hands. The jade gourd can make people more and more beautiful. Tang Nianyan was already beautiful, and with the jade gourd, she would be even more beautiful. Zhou Siren would come over in the second half of the year, and he might fall in love with this again. She had to find a way to get the jade gourd before Zhou Siren came. Lu Jinglan took out 100 yuan, and Old Lady Tang stepped forward to take it. Tang Nianyan was faster than her and put 10 bills into her pocket. She grinned at Old Lady Tang and said, "I'll give it to you when we get home." Old Lady Tang snorted in dismay, annoyed that she was too slow and let this girl get it first. Third uncle, He Guoqing steals things and has bad behavior. He can't stay in the village anymore, Tang Nianyan said loudly. The blood disappeared from He Guoqing's face, his legs went limp, and he knelt on the ground begging for mercy. I was confused for a moment. I will never do it again. Please give me a chance, please. He Guoqing kowtowed desperately. His glasses fell off. His forehead was bleeding, but he didn't feel the pain. He regretted it now. He shouldn't have provoked Tang Nianyan. The people of Tang Village didn't like to deal with the educated youth, but they didn't make it difficult. They were much easier to get along with than those in other villages, which also gave him the illusion that the people of Tang Village were easy to talk to. It's easy to change the country, but it's hard to change one's nature. Third uncle, can the Japanese change their aggressive nature? Of course not. Don't believe the lies of a thief. He just doesn't want to go to the farm for reform. Tang Nianyan spoke in a very strict and clear manner and used the Japanese as an example. Because many people in Tang Village were captured by the Japanese to work as laborers, only one escaped back home, but he became a. He was Tang Nianyan's fourth grandfather and the captain's biological father, who hated the Japanese. What Nian said is right. This thief has shifty eyes and must be a bad guy. Xiao Sand, send this thief away quickly. Fourth grandpa came out with a cane, glared at He Guoqing with disgust, and ordered the team leader arrogantly. The team leader did not dare to say a word and asked people to take He Guoqing away. He had to call the commune later and report the situation truthfully. The commune would send people to investigate the situation and send He Guoqing to the farm for reform. Villagers and educated youth who made mistakes would be sent to the farm. It was not easy to stay there. A white-faced scholar like He Guoqing could not survive a day. I didn't steal, Tang Wujin. Save me, speak quickly. 2 villagers took He Guoqing away. This guy screamed at the top of his lungs and wanted Tang Wujin to testify, but Tang Wujin had been dragged home by Su Jinfeng and taught a lesson. Lu Jinglan's face was pale. She stood there blankly, her collar still open. The cold wind blew into her neck, but she didn't feel cold. Yang Hongling was lying on the ground. Her pig-headed face was covered in blood, and there were a few teeth on the ground. The educated youths all went to work. No one paid attention to them, and no one would pay attention to them in the future. Tang Nianyan followed Old Lady Tang home. her stomach growling with hunger. 10 small breads were not enough to satisfy her hunger. Her adoptive father Tang Manjin went to work, and Su Jinfeng was scolding Tang Wujin. You are even more despicable than a dog. What's so good about He Guiqing? He can't even carry manure, can't swing and earns less work points than a woman. You will be left starving if you marry him? What's more, He Guiqing doesn't like you. Haven't you seen him flirting with Lu Jinglan every day? Are you blind, or do you have maggots in your brain? You also stole your second sister's things and gave them to I will beat you to death, you shameless and lowly. Su Jinfeng became more and more angry as she scolded. She slapped Tang Wujin hard several times, making her hands numb. Mom, give it to you. Tang Jujin silently handed over a stick of firewood as thick as her arm, which she had just taken from outside. Little Jujin didn't like her elder sister. She always gave things from home to little glasses He Guiqing to eat. She had seen it several times. Su Jinfeng, who was angry, snatched the stick of firewood and hit him on the head. Mom, I was wrong, stop beating me. Tang Wujin howled like a pig being slaughtered. Actually, Su Jinfeng didn't use much strength. Tang Wujin was the first child, and Su Jinfeng had spent a lot of time on him. Among the 3 children, she had always been partial to the eldest. Even when she was angry, she couldn't bear to hit him too hard. Didn't you eat? Old Mrs. Tang saw through it at a glance, snatched the firewood stick, and hit Tang Wujin hard. Tang Wujin couldn't even scream in pain. His face was pale, and he looked at the old lady in fear. You stole things from home and paid for Are you so cheap? Rather than letting you lose face in the Tang family in the future, I'd rather beat you to death now. Old Mrs. Tang used all her strength. What she hated most was a traitor. Her eldest granddaughter was stupid and lazy, and now she had violated her taboo. She had to teach her a lesson, otherwise she wouldn't learn her lesson. Mom, take a break, I'll beat you. Su Jinfeng couldn't bear to see her daughter suffer and wanted to take over the firewood stick. Are you hitting me? You just tickling me. You've spoiled this disgraceful fool. Hurry up and meet someone new. Get married this year. Old Lady Tang hit her hard a few more times. Tang Wujin collapsed on the ground in pain and didn't even have the strength to cry. But when she heard that she had to meet someone new, she immediately became energetic and shouted desperately, I won't marry, Mom. I don't want to marry a country man. Old Lady Tang was furious and hit her harder with the stick. You're just a country girl, and you still want to go to heaven? If you listen to the arrangements honestly, I'll find a good family for you, but you still refuse to settle down. I'll marry you to the mountains. You're such a... You have to be taught a lesson by the men in the mountains. I won't marry. Please, Grandma, I don't want to marry. Tang Wujin cried and begged. She wanted to marry He Guiqing, not a barbaric countryman. Old Lady Tang's face turned cold, and she hit her hard. With a click, the stick broke. Tang Wujin fainted. Su Jinfeng's heart ached, but she dared not say anything. The financial power of the family was in the hands of her mother-in-law. If she dared to resist, she would have to starve. Grandma, my eldest sister is now obsessed with He Guiqing. If she can steal my jade gourd today, she can steal the food in the house tomorrow. You have to find a powerful brother-in-law, otherwise you can't control my eldest sister. Tang Yanyan suggested sincerely. If it weren't for the face of the Tang family, she would have beaten Tang Wujin to death long ago. My eldest sister always gives the food at home to that little glasses and steals the biscuits from me and my third sister.
Tang Jijin công lai lao li.
Those biscuits were brought by my uncle from the city. The 4 sisters had the same amount. My eldest sister stole her and my third sister and gave them all to little glasses. Old Mrs. Tang's face was as gloomy as water, and she stared at Tang Wujin on the ground with disgust. This can't be kept in the family, and the eldest daughter-in-law can't be asked to find a son. She has to find one herself. Nian is right. She has to find a powerful man, otherwise she can't control this fool, and the 2 families will not be relatives but enemies. Tang Wujin was locked up by Old Lady Tang, not allowing her to go out and embarrass herself. Mom, Wujin can earn 8 work points a day.
Su Jinfeng pờ lít.
Earning 8 work points will bring shame to the Tang family's 18 generations of ancestors. Old Lady Tang was very determined. Although she felt sorry for the work points, the Tang family's reputation was more important. She must not let this idiot go before he got married. Grandma, 10 work points are only 72 cents.
I'll give you 60 yuan.
Tang Nianyan took out 6 big unity notes from her pocket and handed them over. Old Lady Tang felt relieved, but she still felt pained and said unhappily, "What are you doing with 40 yuan, little girl?" "Grandma, I need to buy study materials. In case there is a job recruitment exam in the city, I have to be prepared." Tang Nianyan made up a random excuse. There were still 20 months before the college entrance examination, and farming was impossible. She had to find a way to make money in the city. Old Mrs. Tang's expression remained unchanged. Why would 40 yuan be enough for study materials? 10 yuan is enough. Grandma, there's still 109 yuan and 2 cents from the Qi family. With just one sentence, Tang Nianyan succeeded in getting the old lady to give in. Don't spend money recklessly. Keep an eye on your eldest sister. Jujin, go collect firewood. After making the arrangements, old Mrs. Tang went to work with Su Jinfeng. Tang Nianyan had never worked since she was a child because Tang Qingshan said that if he took so much money and food coupons from other people's parents, he had to treat them well. Jujin, open your mouth. Tang Nianyan had a piece of fruit candy in her hand. Tang Jujin opened her mouth and she stuffed it in. Second sister, where did you get the candy? Tang Jujin's eyes lit up, and he spit it out to bite off half for his second sister to eat. But Tang Nianyan stopped him because she still had a lot in her space. My second uncle gave it to me. Tang Nianyan thought of a reason. His second uncle Tang Manin was a temporary worker in the machinery factory in the city, earning 18.5 yuan a month, and his second aunt was a temporary worker in the sock factory, earning 15 yuan. Tang Jujin didn't doubt it, but was just surprised that the candy his second uncle gave to his second sister seemed to taste very different. She had never tasted it before. The little girl didn't think much about it. She held the candy in her mouth and went to the mountain to collect firewood happily. Tang Nianyan returned to her room, took out the jade gourd, bit her finger, and blood dripped on it, and she fainted instantly. When she woke up, she found herself lying on the bed, and the jade gourd in her hand was gone. She thought about the space, and she disappeared from the room. Tang Nianyan calmly looked around. The space was very large, with endless black soil and a spiritual spring with white steam. The supplies in her original space also came in and piled up into a mountain. She was a little surprised. In the book, the space that Lu Jinglan recognized as her master only had spiritual springs, and the amount was very small, only 1 drop a day. There was no black soil, and the space could only store a little bit of things. Could it be because she was too beautiful? Tang Nianyan walked to the spiritual spring, scooped up a handful, and drank it. It was very sweet. After drinking it, there was no special feeling, but a warm current surged in the body, making people lazy. Soon, a thin layer of dirt appeared on the surface of her skin. Tang Nianyan came out of the space, boiled water to take a bath, and looked in the mirror and found that her skin was white and tender. She was bright-eyed and beautiful, and after being conditioned by the spiritual spring, she became even brighter. Even if she wore a rustic flowered jacket, it could not cover up her beauty. Tang Nianyan grinned with satisfaction and patted her fair face gently. This feeling. She wanted to touch herself. Wouldn't a man go crazy if he touched her? Sister, I'm so beautiful. This body is very similar to her previous appearance, but she has experienced the middle school entrance examination, the college entrance examination, and the 996 livestock work life. In addition, in the last 3 years of the end of the world, her head is almost bald, her skin is wrinkled, and her beauty is only 6 points left. It's great to travel through books. Tang Nianyan is in a very good mood. Although she has become a cannon fodder, she can still live like a queen. It would be great if Bai Sui could come too. Poor Bai Sui, born as a dog, has never even chewed a bone. Second sister, help. Tang Jujin's miserable cry came from far away. Tang Nianyan just arrived at the gate of the yard, and the little girl rushed over and hid behind her. Second sister, that big dog wants to eat me. Tang Jujin, the little girl, is not afraid of anything, but she is afraid of the two tyrants in the village. Because dogs love to chase her and geese love to peck her, the psychological shadow left on the little girl since she was a child is bigger than the moon. Tang Nianyan didn't say anything. She stared at the big yellow dog running over. Her eyes gradually reddened.
Bai Sui?
Tang Nianyan called out, and the yellow dog stopped and stared at her. After a while, the dog started to curse. Woof, woof, woof. Where have you been? You made me look for you all over the mountains and plains, and you also fought with a few stupid pigs. I haven't eaten for 2 days. I'm starving to death. You black-hearted. 10,000 dirty words are omitted here. To outsiders, the yellow dog is just a barking vicious dog. Tang Jujin was so scared that he didn't dare to look at it. He hid behind his second sister and trembled. Tang Nianyan and Bai Sui can communicate without obstacles.
She can understand what this guy says.
She rushed over and hugged Bai Sui, crying and laughing. Don't get close to me. I'm from Shudao Mountain. Get out of here. My snot is all over me. Bai Sui cursed fiercely, but his mouth was wide open, looking at his master tenderly. He was so scared these 2 days, running around the mountain like a blind man, until he smelled his master's scent, and then he came over. Finally found him, and he was so tired. I'm going to get close to you, Bai Sui. I thought I wouldn't see you again. Are you hungry? Eat quickly. Tang Nianyan took out canned food from the space and fed it to Bai Sui, who ate 6 cans in a row. Tang Jujin couldn't see it, but she could smell it. The air was full of meaty aroma, which made her so greedy. Second sister, are you roasting dog meat? Tang Jujin suspected that the second sister had roasted the vicious dog in a short time.
Woof.
You dare to roast me? Girl, I'll kill you. Bai Sui's fur stood up, and he arched his body and barked at the little girl. Tang Jujin was terrified and shook her head vigorously.
She didn't know what was going on. She actually understood what the yellow dog said. Woohoo.
She would never eat dog meat again. Jujin, this is Bai Sui. You can play together from now on. Bai Sui, she is my sister Jujin. Don't bully her. Tang Nianyan introduced them solemnly, but neither of them gave them face. Bai Sui raised his head and gave Jujin a disdainful look. He didn't want to play with the yellow-haired girl. Although Tang Jujin didn't say anything, she was very resistant in her heart. She didn't want to play with a vicious dog. Tang Nianyan took out a sausage, tore off the package, and fed it to Tang Jujin. The little girl's saliva just flowed into her neck. Second sister, what is this? Tang Jujin took a big bite, and shameful saliva flowed down the corners of her mouth. It was so delicious. She had never eaten such delicious food. Luncheon meat. Tang Nianyan remembered that the current name was luncheon meat. There was a particularly famous Malin luncheon meat factory in Shanghai. Tang Jujin only ate half of it and carefully put the rest into his pocket. Leave it for my third sister. The little girl explained that she had the best relationship with her third sister Tang Lujin. Tang Lujin was in the second year of high school in the county town and went home once a month. Eat it, there's more. Tang Nianyan's heart softened, and she gently stroked the little girl's head. This cute little girl in the book wanted to catch fish to replenish the body of pregnant Su Jinfeng and drowned. She was only 8 years old when she died. Since she came, she must protect this little girl. When Jujin heard that there was more, she immediately took out half a ham sausage from her pocket, but she didn't eat it in a hurry. She fed it to Tang Nianyan's mouth. Second sister, you eat it. I've eaten it, eat it quickly. Tang Nianyan smiled, feeling a little warm in her heart. After experiencing the end of the world where people eat people, although she has no sympathy, there are still 2 creatures that can make her soft-hearted. Human cubs and dogs. Jujin was a very cute girl, and she touched her little conscience. She would be under her protection from now on. Tang Nianyan didn't go home. She was craving meat. Bai Sui said there were many wild rabbits and pheasants in the mountains, so she could get some back to satisfy her craving. She also got some grass and medicinal herbs to raise in the space. She fed the rabbits with grass and sold the medicinal herbs to the purchasing station to exchange for money. Tang Village was surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. Beyond the mountains was Wucheng, which was the famous small commodity capital where chicken feathers could fly into the sky 30 years later. Sugar smuggling merchants often came to the village with their goods on their shoulders to exchange for things. Tang Nianyan had no other ideas now.
She just wanted to eat meat.
The mountains were indeed rich in supplies. With Baisue's help, she quickly caught 2 fat rabbits, 1 male and 1 female, and the female was pregnant. While Tang Jujin was not paying attention, she put the pregnant female rabbit into the space and put a lot of grass in it. Rabbits can give birth to a litter every month. Within a year, there must be a group of rabbits in the space. Tang Nianyan carried a fat rabbit and went to find Tang Jujin, who was collecting firewood. Second sister is so amazing. Second sister, is the rabbit all cooked? Second sister, can I eat 1 leg? Along the way, the little girl's eyes never left the rabbit, and she kept asking. Tang Nianyan was annoyed by the noise and said coldly, "If you keep talking, you won't be able to eat the rabbit hair." Immediately, she was as quiet as a chicken. Back home, Tang Nianyan skillfully skinned and gutted the rabbit and handled it neatly. She didn't throw away the internal organs and fried the rabbit offal with pickled cabbage, which must be delicious. She hung up the rabbit skin and asked someone to deal with it later so that she could make a hat. In the past, Grandma Tang would go home to cook lunch. The cabinet where the grain was stored was locked, and the key was hanging on Grandma Tang's waistband. Tang Nianyan took out a thin wire from the space, poked it into the keyhole, and opened it with a click. Tang Jujin opened his mouth wide, and the second sister in front of him suddenly became much taller. From then on, the most amazing person in her heart was the second sister. The third sister could only be ranked second. Light the fire. Tang Nianyan's expression was always cold. She didn't like to laugh or talk. She had been cold since she was a child, which was very different from her lively personality. She was not afraid of being exposed. After experiencing the betrayal of her fiancé, it was natural that her personality would change drastically. When others asked, it was Chiguohua's fault. Second sister, Grandma will scold you if the meat is cooked. Tang Jujin reminded in a low voice. Old Mrs. Tang was very frugal with her life. She was a meticulous person who had to eat 3 meals even if only the tail of a fish was left. This rabbit would definitely last for half a month in the hands of old Mrs. Tang. Eat it, and then go to the mountain to catch it. I'll give you a leg later. Tang Nianyan was not afraid. She could eat the rabbit she caught however she wanted. And there were so many wild rabbits on the mountain, so she could just catch them if she wanted to eat them. A leg instantly cured Tang Jujin's anxiety. She happily lit a fire. Tang Nianyan prepared red stew. She sautéed garlic, chili, and onion in oil, and then added meat and stir-fried. After a while, the kitchen was filled with strange fragrance, and Jujin, who was stoking the fire, drooled. Fry the rabbit meat over high heat until it is dry, add water and simmer, then simmer over low heat to reduce the sauce. Tang Nianyan went to the vegetable garden to pick some green moss. At this time, the moss was growing like crazy and it was impossible to eat it in time. There was a large pot full of red stewed rabbit meat. Tang Nianyan used the remaining soup to stir-fry a large pot of moss, and then cooked a large pot of sweet potato rice. The reason why she didn't cook pure rice was not because she was afraid of Mrs. Tang, but because there was not much rice in the Tang family's granary. When the bell rang, Mrs. Tang trotted home. She had to cook. She would stew a bowl of sweet potato rice for her son at noon, and then cook a pot of sweet potato porridge and stir-fry some green moss. It was called stir-frying, but in fact, it was a piece of pig skin that had been scalded countless times. It was rubbed on the iron pan, and then the vegetables and water were added to cook. There was not even a drop of oil in the soup. The Tang family was at the head of the village, and the villagers had to pass by on their way home. "Manjin, did you cook meat? It smells so good that my stomach is growling." The villagers stopped and took a big sip. It was really meaty and made them hungry.
Tan Manjin smiled earnestly. No meat.
I haven't eaten meat for a long time. Except for eating some meat during the Chinese New Year, he ate vegetables and radishes or pickled vegetables and tofu at other times. If he wanted to eat meat again, he had to wait until Qingming Festival. He had to have meat to visit his father's grave, and he would eat it at home after visiting the grave. The three brothers did not inherit their father's hunting skills, otherwise they would have meat every day if they were guarding a mountain. Although the villagers were skeptical, they could not go to his house to see, and it was their ability to eat meat. They were satisfied if they could just follow and take a few sips of the meat. Old Lady Tang opened the door, and the smell of meat became stronger. She sniffed a few times, and it was indeed the smell of meat. What happened? Grandma, my second sister has cooked. Tang Jujin ran out. She was so happy because her second sister had just given her and Bai Sui a big piece of meat each. It was so delicious. Tang Nianyan also ate a piece of meat, which finally satisfied her craving. But she wanted to eat pork more strongly. Rabbit meat was not as good as pork after all, so she went back to the mountain to hunt wild boars. Grandma, my second sister hunted rabbits in the mountain. Before Old Lady Tang got angry, Tang Jujin hurried to explain, but the old lady was still angry and stared at the dry rice in the pot. You spend so much rice to cook a meal. If she were to cook, she could cook at least 5 meals. Old Lady Tang pressed her chest hard. No, she was almost out of breath. Grandma, my classmate has a connection in the city. Rice is 1.8 yuan per pound. Tang Nianyan made up a story and created a classmate out of nothing. She planned to go to the city. There was a lot of food in the space. She had to find a reason to take it out. She also went to the legendary black market to see if she could exchange it for some jewelry and antiques. 18 cents a pound? Is that true? Old Lady Tang didn't believe it. Rice in the black market was 25 cents a pound. If there was really 18 cents for food, she would definitely buy it. Really, I'll go to the city to buy food tomorrow. Tang Nianyan said it very sincerely. Old Lady Tang finally believed it and stopped worrying about it. The Tang family had a big bowl of rabbit meat and vegetables, as well as a big pot of rice. After finishing all of them, Tang Nianyan also mixed a bowl of rabbit meat and rice for Bai Sui. Where did the dog come from? People can't even eat enough, and you still keep a dog? Old Lady Tang was angry again. She actually fed the dog so well. Even the team leader didn't have such good food. The rabbit was caught by Bai Sui, and there will be more in the future. Tang Nianyan said lightly, and she extinguished Old Lady Tang's anger. The old lady calculated quickly in her mind that a rabbit could be exchanged for at least 2 yuan in the town, and at 1.8 yuan per pound of grain, it could be exchanged for more than 10 pounds of grain. It would be okay to feed the dog some. Feed less, dogs are cheap, and they won't live long if they eat too well. Old Lady Tang felt that there was no need to feed a dog so well, and it would be enough to mix some leftover soup and rice crust. Bai Sui ignored her and concentrated on eating. He had never eaten such a delicious meal before, and he had no time to pay attention to the old lady. Grandma, Bai Sui is my brother. I am not happy if you say that. Tang Nianyan's expression was very serious. She had to make it clear to the old lady. In her heart, Bai Sui ranked first, and the old lady was not included in the ranking. She was the kind that could be abandoned at any time. Old Lady Tang met her cold eyes, and her heart suddenly trembled. Why did this dead girl get more fierce when she had a fever? Forget it anyway. The money given by the dead girl's parents has not been spent, so if she wants to raise a dog, then raise it. It's just that this dead girl is a little bit stupid. She actually calls a dog a brother. What kind of words are they? Tang Manjin and Su Jinfeng, the couple, didn't say a word. They never cared about Tang Nianyan, and they couldn't do anything even if they wanted to. Su Jinfeng brought a bowl of rice and gave it to Tang Wujin to eat. She was cruel and ignored her. Tang Wujin finished the meal crying and lay back on the bed to feel sorry for herself. At 1:30 in the afternoon, it was time to go to work. The door of the Tang family was knocked loudly, and a slick voice came in. I'm here to propose marriage, Tang Nianyan. You let me touch you all. Who else can I marry if not you? It was Yang Baozhen who came, the rogue who saved the original body, and the who beat the original body to death. He received instructions from the Qi family and came to propose marriage after lunch. Tang Nianyan's beauty was famous far and wide, and Yang Baozhen had been greedy for a long time. With such a good thing delivered to his door, he was more active than anyone else. Tang Nianyan was taking a nap in bed and was woken up. After hearing what the man said, she got out of bed with a cold face. They was looking for death, so she would help him. Get out of here. If you come to my house again, I will chop you to death. Old Mrs. Tang waved her sickle and cursed at Yang Baozhen. I saved your granddaughter, and this is how your family treats the lifesaver? You repay the lifesaver with your body. You Tang family will never be ungrateful. Yang Baozhen got the advice of the Qi family and knew that the people of Tang village valued face the most, so he insisted on saving his life. The villagers who went to work all gathered around. Although this scoundrel was annoying, he did save Tang Nianyan, and this favor had to be repaid. Is it the life-saving grace, or are you and Qi Guohua colluding to frame me? Tang Nianyan came out, pushed old Mrs. Tang away, and looked at Yang Baozhen coldly. This scoundrel is short and fat. He is the only son born with great difficulty in his family. His 5 older sisters his blood. He never works and must eat dry rice every day. All the eggs laid by the chicken go into his stomach. He is just a lazy and bad-tempered good-for-nothing. Yang Baozhen stared at Tang Nianyan with lustful eyes and didn't hear what she said at all. He even stretched out his hand to touch her. She will be his wife soon, so what's wrong with touching her a few times? Tang Nianyan felt even colder. He grabbed Yang Baozhen's collar and punched him in the stomach. The original body in the book was beaten to death by this. Qi Guohua, and you colluded with each other and caused me to fall into the river. You stood by and waited for me to fall into the river before you went down to save me. You also deliberately made a move to destroy my innocence. I taught you a lesson in the river yesterday. Have you not learned your lesson? You are a person who looks like a human, but does nothing. Today I will teach you a lesson. Tang Nianyan had just finished her meal and was as strong as an ox. Every punch could make Yang Baozhen's bile burst out. The villagers did not believe Tang Nianyan's words at first, but after seeing her violence, they firmly believed it. How could a coward like Yang Baozhen take advantage of Tang Nianyan? This must be talking nonsense. Stop hitting me. Ugh. The Qi family asked me to do it. I won't marry you. Stop hitting me. Yang Baozhen, who is delicate and precious, had never suffered such hardship before. He confessed everything in a few hits, and his desire for Tang Nianyan was completely gone. No matter how beautiful a tigress is, she is still a tiger. He can't afford to marry her. It's the Qi family who are causing trouble again. I'm going to settle accounts with them. Old Mrs. Tang was furious. The Qi family was bullying too much. How could a family with a different surname show off so much? Let's go together. Tang Nianyan dragged Yang Baozhen, who looked like a dead body, towards the Qi family. Qi Guohua was going home to visit his relatives. He must have brought money with him. He had to ask for some compensation for mental damage. The villagers hesitated and followed behind. They couldn't escape whether they did the work points or not. It was more important to watch the fun. Qi Guohua's family was there. They were waiting for good news from Yang Baozhen. Qi Guochun and Qi's mother both had a fever and lay weak in bed. They wished that Yang Baozhen would marry Tang Nianyan today. The door of the Qi family was closed. Tang Nianyan kicked it open. The villagers were shocked and looked forward to it even more. It must be a big fight. Qi Guohua and his son rushed out. Seeing Yang Baozhen in Tang Nianyan's hands, their hearts sank to the bottom. Uncle Qi, Guohua, save me. You didn't say she was a tigress. If you had said so, I would never agree even if you kill me. Yang Baozhen cried and screamed, confessing everything, leaving nothing out. Okay, you are such a wicked family. If my family hadn't borrowed money, your dog legs would have been crippled, and Qi Guoxia would have died. Is this how you repay me? Beasts know how to repay, but you are worse than beasts. How can a beast like you be promoted? People like you will definitely become traitors on the battlefield and point guns at your own people. I'd better ask your leader. Old Lady Tang walked up to Qi Guohua and wanted to slap this in the face, but she was not strong enough, so she could only lower her hand in dismay. A stool moved over. It was Tang Niannian, who carried the old lady up. Old Lady Tang immediately swung her fist and slapped Qi Guohua the face. Slap, slap, slap. Qi Guohua didn't dare to move, and was even more afraid that the old woman would really go to the army to make trouble. Second Grandma, Yang Baozhen is talking nonsense. I really didn't do such a thing. Nian Nian and I have always had a good relationship. I won't cancel the engagement. Qi Guohua refused to admit it and said that he wanted to marry Tang Niannian. Bah, a family like you who are in trouble still want to marry my Nian Nian?
Dream on.
Old Lady Tang spat. Grandma, he wants to use this to deny the debt of 109.2 yuan. He also instructed Yang Baozhen and Yang Hongling to make me almost drown. Now I feel dizzy and can't eat. Let him pay me 100 yuan to buy me nutritional supplements. Tang Niannian opened his mouth loudly, and Qi's mother, who was lying on the bed, was so angry that she ran out to scold him. You are a little girl, and you still want 100 yuan for nutrition? You want to eat up the sky, and you are extorting money from my family.
Dream on.
If you don't pay for the nutrition, I will buy a ticket to the army now, and let Qi Guohua judge. Tang Niannian turned and left, and said to Mrs. Tang, Grandma, I will ask Uncle San to write a letter of introduction. Qi Guohua gritted his teeth and said hatefully, I will give it to you, Niannian. I really didn't hurt you. I am willing to give you this money. Go buy delicious food. Tang Niannian must not be allowed to go to the army to make trouble. He is at a critical moment of promotion now, and nothing can go wrong. This ate his food, and she will spit it out sooner or later. Qi Guohua hated it very much in his heart, but he pretended to be affectionate on the surface, which made Tang Niannian almost spit out her lunch. Hurry up and take the money, a total of 209.2 yuan. Tang Niannian had a stern face and disgusted eyes. Qi Guohua was just an ordinary beauty, and she looked down on such a kind of stuff. The original body had a bad vision. Qi Guohua dragged Qi's mother back to the house. Not long after, he came out with a pile of money in his hand, some in small change, and some in whole. 209 yuan and 2 cents, all here. Old Mrs. Tang stretched out her hand, but Tang Niannian was one step faster than her. Tang Niannian skillfully counted the money, not missing a cent. Our two families will have no relationship in the future. Qi Guohua, I wish you a bright future in the army. Tang Niannian's voice was loud, and she emphasized the words bright future with a meaningful look. Qi Guohua's heart skipped a beat, and his back felt cold. Niannian, I really didn't hurt you, you misunderstood. Qi Guohua's biggest worry now was that Tang Niannian would go to the army to make trouble. Don't worry, I won't go to the army, and we'll settle our grievances. Tang Niannian's mouth curled up with sarcasm. The S mind was obvious, and she saw through it at a glance. Even if he didn't go to the army, she could ruin his future. Qi Guohua was the culprit for the tragic ending of the original body in the book. How could she be relieved with just 100 yuan? She hadn't used her ultimate move yet. Qi Guohua forced a smile and felt a little relieved. Tang Niannian had made a promise in front of the whole village. She shouldn't go to the army to make trouble, right? Nothing to do? Why don't you go to work? The captain's voice like a bell rang out. He looked at Tang Niannian deeply and said nothing. He was thinking in his heart that this girl had a fever, but her brain had become clear. Recently, his ignorant and stupid daughter has been making trouble at home every day, insisting on marrying a poor young man with a bad background. No matter how much good words and saliva she said, it was useless. This dead girl was like a demon. How about taking this dead girl to the river to soak and see if the in her brain can be burned away? The villagers dispersed in a hurry and went to work in 2s and 3s, talking and laughing. Along the way, they were discussing the farce between the Qi and Tang families. The public opinion in the village also took a big turn. Yesterday, they were still saying that Tang Niannian was not innocent and was indeed not worthy of Qi Guohua. Now they're saying that Qi Guohua is more vicious than Chen Shimi. Chen Shimi just divorced his wife, but Qi Guohua wants to kill Tang Niannian. I've said it before, this kind of outsider has bad character, We don't know their background, who knows what their ancestors did. Fortunately, Nian girl didn't marry him. A despicable man like Qi Guohua is not a good match even if he is promoted in the army. The army leaders have poor eyesight. How can they not see the true face of Qi Guohua? People in the countryside have loud voices and strong breath. Even if they are dozens of meters away, these words can still be blown into the ears of Qi Guohua's family with the early spring wind. The Qi family looked uglier than eating. They lost money and lost face. This time they suffered a big loss. Guohua, go see Yang Hongling and bring some eggs. Qi's father had a dark face and had an idea. Tang Nian was out of luck. Yang Hongling must be firmly grasped. Their Qi family had been begging for 18 generations. When it came to his generation, they finally made a comeback and must not fail. There are not many eggs left at home. I didn't give Guochun any eggs when he had a fever. Mother Qi felt sorry for the eggs. She wanted to save some more and exchange 100 eggs for money in the town. Her family took out more than 200 yuan at once. Her heart hurt more than if it was cut. Stupid. You can't catch a wolf without sacrificing your child. Father Qi glared fiercely. Mother Qi was scared and shrank her neck and whispered, Yang Hongling is not good-looking. Although she was dissatisfied with Tang Nian, Mother Qi had to admit that Tang Nian was really beautiful. There was no girl prettier than Tang Nian within 100 miles. Yang Hongling's face was bigger than a basin, her was smaller than a basin, and she was short. There was nothing that satisfied Mother Qi. Her son was tall and heroic, and he was a soldier. There was no one better than her son within 100 miles. Yang Hongling was marrying her son, which was really marrying up. How could she have the nerve to eat her eggs? I have connections that can help your son get promoted. Qi's father scolded in a low voice. What a short-sighted fool. His eyelids were shallower than the ditch in front of the door. What does it matter if he is beautiful or ugly, as long as his son can get promoted? It doesn't matter even if he grows up to be a demon. It will be the same when the lights are turned off. Qi's mother curled her lips. She hasn't been promoted yet, but she wants to eat eggs. When she is promoted, won't she be in heaven? Qi Guohua nodded, went to the inner room to get eggs, counted 20, thought about it, added 10 more, put 30 eggs in a basket and went out. Mom, I want to eat eggs. Qi Guochuan's hoarse voice came out of the room. The fever subsided a little, but her throat felt like a knife cutting, painful and hoarse. She had no strength in her body, and she felt dizzy when she moved, so she could only lie down. She heard what her parents and brother said. Her mouth was drooling. She wanted to eat eggs so much. I still want to eat, Qi's mother retorted angrily. Her son had just brought a basket full of eggs, at least 30 eggs. Her heart was completely hollowed out, and she felt as if she was being cut by a knife. Qi's father pretended not to hear and prepared to go to work. He also said to Qi's mother, Go to work when you are well. You have been lying for a long time. I know. Qi's mother responded reluctantly. She wanted to lie down for a while, but she had just quarreled with old lady Tang and was sweating. The fever had subsided, but she just had no strength. But she didn't dare to ask for a rest. Qi's father had the final say at home. The couple carried the furniture and just walked to the gate of the yard when they bumped into someone. Congratulations! The person who came was Ma, a famous matchmaker in the village. Her maiden name was Ma. She married to Tang village and was a loudspeaker. She was good at matchmaking for people and her success rate was particularly high. Tang Laolu asked me to propose marriage. The Tang Laolu that Ma matchmaker was talking about was the old bachelor who saved Qi Guochun and was Tang Nian's uncle. Tang Laolu paid a huge sum of 3 yuan to hire Ma the matchmaker. Laolu is not young anymore. He wants to get married as soon as possible. Every day in the new society is an auspicious day, and the wedding can be held any time this month. Laolu and Guochun are in love and kissed. Everyone in Tang village saw it. It's better for the couple to get married as soon as possible to avoid gossip. Laolu said he won't prepare the betrothal gift, and Guochun doesn't need a dowry. He will prepare the banquet. Ma the matchmaker's mouth was louder than the village loudspeaker, and she spoke from beginning to end without taking a breath. Chi's father and mother turned pale, unable to bear it any longer, interrupted Ma the matchmaker, and cursed. Tang Lao Lu is daydreaming.
We don't agree with this marriage.
If you come to our house and talk nonsense again, don't blame us for being rude. How can it be a daydream? It's obvious that they are in love, and it's a natural thing. Lao Lu and your Guachun touched and hugged each other, right? It's true that they kissed each other for 3 minutes, right? This is something that only husband and wife can do. Your Guachun and Lao Lu have done it all. Who else can you marry if not Lao Lu? You should also think about Ling Qing. With Guachun's current reputation, only Lao Lu doesn't despise him. Ma the matchmaker's smile disappeared from her face, and her words became sarcastic. Her husband and Tang Lao Lu are cousins and family members. Even if she usually looks down on Tang Lao Lu, the Qi family can't belittle him. Qi's father and mother were so angry that they trembled. Their faces turned pale, and the veins on their foreheads bulged, as if they would faint at any time. Matchmaker Ma softened her tone and said with a smile, "Actually, apart from being a little older, Lao Lu is quite good. You see, he has no parents and only 3 rooms. When Guachun marries him, the young couple will work together to achieve great things and will definitely live a good life." As expected of a matchmaker, she could even bring the dead back to life, praising an old bachelor who is lazy and greedy to the heavens. Qi's mother lived in the same village as Tang Lao Lu, so how could she not know the character of this guy? She was so angry that she yelled, "Since Tang Lao Lu is so good, why don't you marry your cousin to him?" Matchmaker Ma changed her face and said sarcastically, "Can your Qi Guachun compare with my cousin? My cousin is innocent. She is a substitute teacher in the primary school of the commune. She is educated and good-looking. What does your Qi Guachun have? A wild chicken wants to marry a phoenix? You are really wishful thinking and daydreaming." Qi's mother had a mouthful of blood stuck in her throat. Her eyes went dark, and she was shaking. Matchmaker Ma didn't dare to scold anymore, fearing that she would scold him to death, so she said sarcastically, "I want to see what kind of good young man Qi Guachun can marry. Don't beg to marry our Tang Lao Lu in the future." After that, she sneered and walked away arrogantly. Qi's father and mother's faces were as black as charcoal. Qi Guachun's crying could be heard in the room. She would rather die than marry Tang Lao Lu. It was Tang Mianyan who harmed her. And this will never reconcile. Tang Mianyan returned home and gave 109.2 yuan to old lady Tang. She only took 100 yuan, plus the 40 yuan from Yang Hongling. She now had a huge sum of 140 yuan. "Why do you carry so much money with you? I'll keep it for you. Ask me for anything you want to buy." Old lady Tang was very dissatisfied. The dead girl spent money lavishly. The 140 yuan in this dead girl's pocket would definitely not last for more than a month. "I have a great use for it. This is erbium. I will catch more money in the future." Tang Mianyan's expression was very serious, and her tone was very sincere because she was telling the truth. Old Mrs. Tang didn't believe it and sneered, "Your hands are looser than chicken claws, and you still want to make money? Just don't give away the things in the house as compensation." Tang Mianyan puffed up her cheeks and wanted to refute, but old Mrs. Tang didn't give her a chance and counterattacked her with examples. "You're still not convinced. How much food did you give to that wolf cub when he was a child? Have you forgotten this? And how much stuff did Qi Guohua and his sister, that ungrateful pair, steal from you? I'm playing the long game to hook the big fish. Look, the big fish is in your pocket." Tang Mianyan was not convinced by the example of Qi Guohua and his sister. She pointed to the old lady's pocket. The warm bills that had just been put into her pocket were not acknowledged by her grandmother. Old lady Tang choked, held her pocket tightly, and said unhappily, "What about the wolf cub? He ate so much food from our family, but where is the big fish you caught? Did it never come back?" Tang Mianyan recalled for a long time before she remembered the wolf cub the old lady was talking about. There was such a thing about the original wolf cub. The wolf cub lived in the cowshed. No one knew what he was called. The villagers called him Wolf Cub because the boy lived with a group of wild wolves when he was a child. Old man Tang Qingshan went hunting in the mountains and found him and brought him back. At that time, the wolf cub was timid and sensitive. He would show his teeth when he saw people, and he would learn to walk on all fours like a wolf, and his movements were very fast. The child's origin was unknown, and no one in the village was willing to adopt him. Tang Qingshan wanted to raise him, but old lady Tang disagreed. In the end, several old people in the cowshed adopted the child. Every time Tang Qingshan hunted, he would share some of the prey with the cowshed. The wolf cub could not play with the children in the village, but he had a good relationship with Tang Nyenyen. Tang Nyenyen often stole food from home and fed it to the wolf cub. Every time Mrs. Tang saw it, she pretended not to see it. When Tang Nyenyen was 10 years old, the wolf cub was picked up by a man in a jeep. The wolf cub ran to say goodbye to Tang Nyenyen and gave her a wolf tooth. After that, the two never met again. Tang Nyenyen recalled this past event, and a dark boy appeared in her mind. He had very bright eyes, was skinny, and was shorter than her. TSK, poor little thing. Mrs. Tang thought she was guilty and snorted triumphantly. Can't say it? Don't even think about the big fish of the wolf cub in this life. That's not necessarily true. Tang Nyenyen blurted out without thinking. Although she also felt that this wave of investment was generally a loss, she certainly couldn't admit defeat verbally, and she had to argue. Grandma, I will make a lot of money in the future and make you a big gold bracelet, with gold bracelets on both legs, arms, and neck. Tang Nyenyen began to make big promises. Although Mrs. Tang was greedy and stingy, she had a good heart. She had treated the original body well over the years. She had the best food and drink, and she also supported her high school. There were very few girls in the countryside who could go to high school. I am a dog, and I have gold bracelets on my neck? Mrs. Tang rolled her eyes, but she smiled a little and did not ask about the 100 yuan, which was originally for the girl's body. Think about it, she is also a poor girl. The Tang family was so rich in Shanghai back then, living in a villa and driving a rickshaw. If not, this girl is a rich lady. The old lady softened her heart, and her voice softened. I'm going to work. Don't go out in the afternoon. Take good care of yourself at home. You have a fever of 40 or 50 degrees. I don't know if your brain is burned out. Grandma, I'll go to the mountain to hunt wild boars for you. Tang Nyenyen's expression was very sincere. She was craving pork. Bai Sui said there were many wild boars in the mountains, but they were particularly fierce in the deep mountains. But it didn't matter. She had space and was still very ferocious, and the wild boars would flee only when they saw her. I'll beat you up. Old Lady Tang had already walked to the door. After hearing this, she turned back and glared fiercely, not taking it seriously at all. Since the old man left, there was no one in the village who could beat wild boars. This dead girl was talking nonsense. Even if a wild boar died in front of her, her thin arms couldn't drag it back. Old Lady Tang went to work while cursing. Only Tang Nyenyen and Tang Jujin were left at home, staring at each other, and Tang Wujin was crying in the room. No one paid attention to her. Second sister, I'm going to pick grass for the pigs. The little girl was very busy. Although she was only 7 years old, she had to collect firewood and pick grass for the pigs every day. Her small shoulders carried a heavy burden. Tang Nyenyen also carried a basket and a hatchet and went up the mountain with Jujin. Bai Sui wagged his tail and followed them. As soon as they reached the mountain, Jujin found a lush grassy with ease and began to cut it with a sickle. Tang Nyenyen stood on the hillside and looked out, while Bai Sui stood beside her. Second sister, where are you going? Jujin asked loudly. To look up there. Tang Nyenyen answered casually, and they climbed up the mountain with Bai Sui. The mountains in the early spring in the south of the Yangtze River were tender green, and the air was filled with the rich fragrance of wintersweets. There were many wild wintersweets on the mountain, and they were in full bloom, so they were especially fragrant. Halfway up the mountain, there was a thin old man wearing glasses, sitting against a tree, watching two cows who were leisurely eating grass and swaying their tails. The old man was very thin, but also very swollen, with a waxy yellow face that was shiny and swollen. He wore a washed-out Zhongshan suit with many patches on it. There was tape on the legs of the old man's glasses, and he looked very destitute, but he was full of the scent of books. Tang Mianyan glanced at the old man and walked forward without looking away. The old man also saw her, but just glanced at her lightly and continued to stare at the cow. The people, had no contact with the villagers. Old Zhang, what is this? A tall old man, also wearing a patched Zhongshan suit, held it in both hands and ran over happily. Eat it quickly, it's sweet. The old man was holding the white and tender white grass root, a snack for world children with a faint sweetness, but it doesn't satisfy hunger. White grass root, have you eaten it before? Let's eat it together. Zhang Xueqing took one and chewed it. The faint sweetness relieved his hunger a little. The tall old man didn't eat it. He was also very thin, and his face was swollen. Zhang Xueqing stuffed the white grass root into his mouth, and the two smiled at each other. Persistence is victory, old Zhang. We must persist. The tall old man chewed the grass root with relish, leaned against the tree, and looked up at the blue sky. He was comforting old Zhang, and also encouraging himself. They would definitely be able to return to the city. Yeah, Zhang Xueqing responded indifferently. Over the years, he has been to various cowshed farms, and the past 2 years in Tang Village are the most stable. He no longer holds out hope, but he cannot spoil Lao Deng's fun. It would be nice to herd cattle in Tang Village for a lifetime, but he misses his wife and children abroad, and he regrets his skills. I hope he can still hold on until the day he reunites with his wife and children. Tang Mianyan, who had already climbed a long way, had very sharp ears. Hearing the conversation between the two old men, he was moved. Old Zhang, who lives in the cowshed? Isn't this person Lu Jinglan's benefactor? The book says that Lu Jinglan had a very poor foundation in study, but she was able to be admitted to Beijing University because when she was an educated youth in Tang Village, she saved an old man named Zhang from the cowshed. Although this old man named Zhang is now poor and shabby, he will be picked up by his superiors in the early spring of next year and become the general manager of the 5S-level scientific research project team. In addition, Mr. Zhang was very grateful for Lu Jinglan's gift of medicine. He tailored a study plan for her and gave her private tutoring. This is how Lu Jinglan was able to be admitted to Beijing University. After that, Lu Jinglan used the name of Mr. Zhang's student to move among the children of high-ranking officials in Beijing. She was good at dancing with long sleeves and was smooth in dealing with people and got a lot of resources. But the spiritual spring that Lu Jinglan used to save Mr. Zhang belonged to the original body. Tang Mianyan clenched her fists. She wanted to beat someone up again. She must this noble man away. She recalled the plot. Mr. Zhang was caught in the rain in early April and had a high fever in the middle of the night. His life was hanging by a thread. Lu Jinglan went to the cowshed in the dark like an angel descending to earth and fed the spiritual spring to Mr. Zhang. This plot was a bit unreasonable. The cowshed was far away from the village. How did Lu Jinglan know that Mr. Zhang had a fever in the middle of the night? It felt like this woman had known that Mr. Zhang would have a fever in the middle of the night and then saved him at the right time. She remembered many unreasonable things in the book. Lu Jinglan had been reviewing for a long time, and she took the initiative to ask for extra lessons, but the information about the college entrance examination will not be announced until next year. How did Lu Jinglan know that she would take the college entrance examination next year? Tang Mianyan's heart trembled, and she slapped her forehead hard. This woman was reborn. If she was a time-traveling woman like her, then Lu Jinglan had no need to harm her original body. She came here from a god's perspective, and there was no need to make things difficult for a rural girl. Obviously, Lu Jinglan had a grudge against her original body in her previous life, so she bit her original body as soon as she came back. Tang Mianyan sorted out her thoughts and became more alert to Lu Jinglan. This woman was like a poisonous snake hiding in the dark, and it was hard to guard against her. But she was not afraid. The best defense was offense. She would kill this woman first. Take away all the good opportunities in Lu Jinglan's book. Tang Mianyan was on the mountain. After walking around, she didn't encounter any wild boars, but she did collect some medicinal herbs, as well as a dozen rabbits and 5 or 6 pheasants. She put the little rabbits in the space to raise them and cut a lot of grass, and some grass roots. Tang Nianyan took out 2 fat rabbits and a pheasant. There were 4 big rabbits, 3 small ones, a pregnant female rabbit, and 2 pheasants in the space. She just wanted to check, and they were all very lively. She tried to plant the grass roots with her mind, but her brain almost collapsed. The grass roots didn't move. It seems that her space can't farm by itself, and it's a bit mentally. Tang Nianyan used a hatchet to plant the grass roots. There was a stream on the mountain, and she ferried a lot of it into the space, forming a small pond. She also picked wild fungus, wild mushrooms, Polygonum multiflorum, Panax nodo ginseng, etc. She transplanted all the medicinal herbs into the space. When she went down the mountain, she saw a wild tea tree on the edge of the cliff. There was a big Ganoderma lucidum under the tea tree, which looked like it should be very valuable. Tang Nianyan dug out the big Ganoderma lucidum with great effort and moved the small Ganoderma lucidum next to it into the space, and also moved a few branches of wild tea trees into it. After a busy day, Tang Nianyan was sweating. She looked around and saw no one, so she slipped into the space. The medicinal herbs were planted crookedly, and she watered each of them with a drop of spiritual spring water. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but the medicinal herbs were visibly energetic. Tang Nianyan rode a motorcycle to patrol the space. The motorcycle was collected by her in the last days. There were also some luxury cars and helicopters, as well as various high-precision machine tools and various household machinery. They all became scrap metal in the last days, and she collected them all into the space. She also collected a lot of gasoline, enough for several lifetimes. Tang Nianyan rode the motorcycle around and found that the black soil had a boundary, which was blocked by a layer of white fog. She didn't know what was on the other side of the white fog. She roughly estimated that the black soil was about 30 square kilometers, or about 45,000 acres. It is definitely impossible to grow all crops. She will be exhausted by herself. She needs to build a pasture to raise cattle and sheep, and then grow some fruits, vegetables, soybeans, peanuts, wheat, sorghum, sweet potatoes, etc., and then go back to get some seeds. Fortunately, she has agricultural machinery which can be used for mechanized farming, so she can still handle it by herself. Tang Nianyan looked at the vast space with satisfaction, full of supplies and pheasants and rabbits chasing in the space. She was so confident. In the future, she will build the space into her independent manner, with chickens, ducks, cattle, sheep and pigs in groups, and completely realize meat freedom. Coming out of the space, Tang Nianyan carried 2 rabbits and a pheasant and walked down the mountain quickly. Halfway up the mountain, Zhang Xueqing was still herding cattle with a tall old man. Both of them looked listless, leaning against the tree weakly, and they didn't have the strength to speak. It is a spring famine now, and even the villagers can't eat enough. Their food is given by the brigade, 20 kilograms a month, not pure food, mixed with sweet potatoes, not enough to eat. It would be great if a rabbit could fall from the sky. The tall old man Deng Chongqing muttered to himself. He hadn't eaten meat for a long time and was so greedy. Old Zhang, what's the idiom called? Waiting for a rabbit? Stop dreaming and save some energy. Zhang Xueqing pulled the corner of his mouth. He didn't even have the strength to laugh. There were only a few sweet potatoes left in the cowshed. He and old Zhang only had 1 meal a day, 1 sweet potato meal. He was so hungry that he felt dizzy and wanted to fight with the cows for grass. You still have to dream. Maybe your dream will come true. Deng Chongqing licked his dry lips. Just as he finished speaking, he heard a snap and something fell on the grass in front. Who? Deng Chongqing suddenly opened his eyes, and his turbid eyes instantly shot out coldness. He stood up quickly, but he stood up too quickly, and his eyes were dark. He almost fell down. Girl, your rabbit fell. Zhang Xueqing didn't move at all, because he saw Tang Nianyan coming over. No, she jumped down. Tang Nianyan took a shortcut and jumped down directly from and she also threw the rabbit. Here. Tang Nianyan handed a fat rabbit to Zhang Xueqing. The 2 old men were almost starving to death. What do you want to do? Zhang Xueqing didn't take it, and his expression became alert. He had seen Tang Nianyan several times. She was the most beautiful girl in the village, but they had never spoken. I can read your face. You are trapped in a shallow shoal. You will have a great opportunity soon. I am helping you now and doing you a favor. You have to pay it back later. Tang Nianyan did not hide her utilitarianism. She was not a saint. It was impossible for her to give benefits to others for no reason. The book said that this tall old man would return to the city in the second half of the year, and Zhang Lao would return in the early spring of next year. They were all big men, and it would definitely be good to curry favor with them. The most important thing was to Lu Jinglan's opportunity. Deng Chongqing laughed out loud, threw the rabbit to Tang Nianyan, and said self-deprecatingly, "Little girl, we can't even get enough food to eat now. We can't repay your favor. I'll pay it back later. I never do business at a loss." Tang Nianyan threw it back and turned away. The two old people hesitated. Should they take the rabbit or not? "I'll keep the account." Tang Nianyan's voice came over, and the person had already walked away. Deng Chongqing and Zhang Xueqing couldn't help laughing. They didn't believe the girl's nonsense. How could a little girl read faces? Maybe she came to help them, because she felt sorry for them. "I'll go and deal with the rabbit, and stew it in red wine for dinner." Deng Chongqing grabbed the rabbit, which was quite fat, weighing about 7 or 8 kilograms. The pretty girl was hard-mouthed but soft-hearted, and deliberately said those unpleasant words. He remembered this kindness. "Don't think about it. We are like this now. What else can anyone care about? If I can go back to the city in the future, I will repay this girl." Deng Chongqing advised his old friend. In fact, he didn't know Zhang Xueqing before. He was a rough man and Zhang Xueqing was a scientist. The two of them had nothing to do with each other. They met when they arrived in Tang village. There were only the two of them in the cowshed, and they depended on each other. Zhang Xueqing smiled bitterly. "I'm worried that I won't have a chance to repay you." "Of course I will. I'll go skin it, and when the saltpeter is ready, I'll make you a pair of knee pads." Deng Chongqing took the rabbit to process it. He used to work in the kitchen, and his cooking skills were pretty good. Zhang Xueqing was not idle either, looking for wild onions nearby as seasoning. Tang Nianyan called Tang Jujin down the mountain. The little girl picked a full basket of pig grass, and when she saw the rabbit and pheasant, she jumped 3 feet high. "Second sister, how can you be so good?" "Second sister, how did you do it? Teach me, okay?" "Second sister, do you want to eat rabbit or chicken tonight?" On the way down the mountain, the little girl started chattering again. In fact, she wanted to eat a rabbit and a chicken, but she knew it was impossible. "Eat both," Tang Nianyan said concisely. "Chicken stew soup, rabbit stew. Eat to your heart's content." "Second sister, I like you so much." Tang Jujin was very happy. From then on, the second sister was the only person she loved the most. "Third sister, please step back for now." Tang Nianyan raised her lips. The little girl's preferences were really straightforward. A big sister is a big sister. She remembered that the little girl's favorite was the third 6 gene. She went home first, peeled the rabbit skin, including the one she had at noon, and then picked up another rabbit and went to the team leader's house. There were not many people in the village who could handle the skins. Now the only one who could do this was the fourth grandfather. The fourth grandfather was old and had difficulty walking. He didn't go to work and did some work at home. "Fourth grandfather, I'm Nian Nian." Tang Nianyan called at the door. The fourth grandfather limped out and was stunned when he saw the rabbit in her hand. "Nian girl, where did you get the rabbit?" "I caught it in the mountains." "Fourth grandfather, can you teach me how to handle the skin?" Tang Nianyan didn't want to bother others all the time. Learning it is also a skill. It's better to have more skills. "Did your grandfather teach you?" Fourth grandpa looked at her admiringly. This girl had been following his second brother to the mountains since she was a child. His second brother was the best hunter in the area, so it was not surprising that his granddaughter could hunt rabbits. "Yes, I can also hunt wild boars." Tang Nianyan smiled, and fourth grandpa glared at her. "How come you couldn't even hunt a sparrow before, when you were so capable?" "I was lazy before, but now I'm diligent." Tang Nianyan had a good reason. Fourth grandpa was angry and amused. He felt that it was good for this girl to be hurt by Qiguohua. At least her laziness was gone, and her temperament became more likable. "Take the rabbit back, and I'll teach you how to tan the skin. I'm honoring you. Tang Nian had a stern face and a firm tone, but it made fourth grandpa feel particularly relieved, and his eyes looked at her with a lot of kindness. Tanning skin is simple to say, but it is not easy to do. Fortunately, Tang Nian learns everything quickly and can get started soon. Take it back and do it slowly. There is no other trick. Practice makes perfect. The fourth grandfather's eyes were more appreciative, but he also felt a little regretful. If this girl was a man, she would definitely have a bright future. Tang Nian stood up with 2 pieces of leather. Fourth grandfather, I'll give you a leg after I kill a wild boar. Beat your head, little girl. You still want to kill a wild boar. The fourth grandfather glared at her unhappily, not believing that she could kill a wild boar. Even his second brother Tang Qingshan only killed a wild boar alone once when he was young, and later several people fought together. A mad wild boar can be a fierce guy that can beat a wild bear. Tang Nian did not argue. She would use facts to slap the fourth grandfather in the face. When she was going home, she met Qi Guohua on a narrow road. The scumbag was holding an empty basket in his hand and was coming from the direction of the educated youth point. How are Yang Hongling's teeth? Tang Nian asked coldly. Did she remember that she killed 6 or 8 teeth? I guess her cheeks are deflated? There was a female star who had only 1 tooth pulled out, and her small square face became pointed. Qi Guohua's face changed, and he couldn't help saying, "You are so vicious. Hongling accidentally bumped into you, and she has apologized, but you actually knocked out 8 of her teeth. Tang Nian, I really didn't know you were that kind of person." When he saw Yang Hongling, he almost didn't recognize her. Her plump face like a steamed bun before has now become a shriveled face like a sesame seed cake, especially her cheeks, which are sunken, like a toothless old lady. Originally, Yang Hongling didn't have a good appearance, but she had fair skin and a plump figure. Now her face is sunken, and the only 3 points of her beauty are gone. If it weren't for the big pie of promotion hanging in the air, Qi Guohua really didn't want to deal with this ugly woman. It was too hot for the eyes. Knocking out 8 teeth is vicious? Then you are too ignorant. Tang Nian looked at the scumbag with disdain and expressionless face. This is totally different. She has even taken out the brains of zombies. She really wants to take out the scumbag's brain to see if there is inside. It's against the law. Tang Nian sighed regretfully and walked away without even looking at Qi Guohua. Qi Guohua was so angry that his back teeth were about to break. He went home angrily, and he was mentally preparing himself all the way.
His choice was right.
Only by being with Yang Hongling could he rise to the top. With Tang Nian, a country girl, his future was clear at a glance. If a man does not work for himself, he will be punished by heaven and earth. He must be right. Tang Nian returned home, boiled water to scald the feathers, and soon plucked and bled the pheasant. The chicken offal was also cleaned, as well as the rabbit offal from yesterday, and sauerkraut will be fried later. Eugene went to the vegetable garden to pick a basket of green moss, washed it, and took the initiative to light the fire. Pheasant stewed with mushrooms, braised rabbit meat, and stir-fried chicken offal with sauerkraut. The oil was boiled with chicken fat, and a large pot of green moss was fried. In the evening there was still sweet potato rice. After work, old lady Tang came home tired. As soon as she entered the yard, she smelled the fragrant aroma. Tang Manjin and Su Jinfeng's eyes lit up and they felt much more relaxed. Old lady Tang trotted into the house and saw the meat on the table and the dry rice in the pot. Her heart ached and numbed. "Grandma, I'll go to the city to buy rice for my classmates tomorrow." Tang Nian took the initiative to say that she would go up the mountain to get some wild goods tomorrow and see if she could exchange them for some tickets in the city. Some of the supplies in her space could not be taken out. She remembered that she had collected some nostalgic home appliances before and wanted to see if she could sell them on the black market. Old lady Tang calmed down a little. She didn't mention the money. Anyway, the dead girl had 140 yuan on her. Tang Manjin and Su Jinfeng were very satisfied with the meal. If they had such food every day, they would definitely earn full work points every day. Nian, How come you suddenly know how to hunt? Tang Manjin asked curiously. Grandpa taught me. Tang Nianyan ate meat in silence. The braised rabbit meat was really delicious, but the sweet potato rice was not delicious.
She wanted to eat pure rice.
Then why didn't you hunt before? Su Jinfeng felt strange. She had never seen this girl hunting before, and she didn't even bring back a sparrow. I don't want to hunt. Tang Nian didn't even think about it. Eating meat was more important. Su Jinfeng choked and wanted to ask more questions. Old Lady Tang said impatiently, eating meat can't stop you from talking. In fact, the old lady also doubted it. She had never seen that dead girl hunting, but she became a divine hunter after having a fever. As for Tang Nianyan's hunting for 100 years, the old lady didn't believe it. No matter how capable a dog is, it is still a dog. Can it become the Monkey King? But she and Su Jinfeng have always been at odds. If Su Jinfeng wants to know, she will stop it. She doesn't care whether it makes sense or not. Anyway, she is happy to make trouble for her daughter-in-law. Su Jinfeng curled her lips and didn't ask any more questions. She hurried to eat the meat. Anyway, no matter what happened, the meat was in her stomach, which was the most practical thing. The next morning, Tang Nianyan woke up early. She picked in the closet for a long time, but there were nothing but flowery clothes. The original girl had a mysterious love for flowery clothes. She had cloth in her space, but she didn't know how to make it. And she had to go to the city first to get the cloth. Sighing, Tang Nianyan picked a slightly plain red plaid jacket and tied a high ponytail. The original liked to tie 2 braids, but she didn't. The scarf was only red, and Tang Nianyan didn't wear it. She couldn't imagine the look of a flowery dress with a red scarf and would rather freeze her neck. Breakfast was cooked by Old Lady Tang. It was the leftovers from last night's sweet potato porridge. Tang Nianyan only drank a small bowl. She was afraid that she would have to urgently if she drank too much, and she wouldn't be able to find a toilet in the city. Tang Village is 30 kilometers away from the county town, and it is 60 kilometers round trip. Tang Nianyan wanted to find a bicycle. There are 4 bicycles in the village. One belongs to the Tang family, which belongs to Uncle Tang. One belongs to the team leader, one belongs to the accountant, and the other belongs to a teacher in the town. The accountant and the teacher are not familiar with each other, so Tang Nianyan is going to borrow one from the team leader. She brought a basket of wild black fungus, which she picked in the mountains yesterday. The team leader regards the bicycle as more important than his wife, so he can't borrow it empty-handed. Third aunt, the black fungus is for you. The team leader's wife was drying clothes in the yard, and Tang Nianyan handed over a basket of black fungus. The fresh and tender black fungus is particularly plump, and it is delicious when fried with eggs or cooked in soup. Nianyan, take it back quickly. Although the third aunt was polite, she took the basket with her hands, and her face was full of smiles. The rabbit yesterday was so delicious that she ate half of it and left the other half to dry. When the commune cadres come to guide the work, there will be dishes to show off. Third aunt, I want to borrow the third uncle's bicycle to go to the city to buy things. Tang Nianyan directly stated her purpose. The smile on third aunt's face faltered, and her hand holding the basket loosened a little, but Tang Nianyan stuffed it into her hand again and smiled at her. The bike is over there, just come and ride it, Muir, take it. The team leader came out and pointed to the corner of the yard, where the shiny bicycle was parked.
Hey!
Tang Nianyan walked over to push the bike, and she didn't take Muir either. The team leader and fourth grandpa were both very nice, but third aunt was a little stingy, just like her grandmother. Third uncle, I'll ride it away. Tang Nianyan rode away. The team leader smiled, and the idea of pushing his stupid daughter into the river became even deeper. Nian girl has become more sensible after having a fever. Maybe the stupid daughter can also come to her senses. Tang Nianyan didn't go into the city immediately. She went to the mountain first and had a pheasant and a bag of rice in her hand, which she took out from her space, and the other prey were put into the space. Zhang Xueqing and Deng Changsheng were both cutting grass, and they both looked much more energetic, and the hare last night made a great contribution. Paw of pheasant and a bag of rice fell at their feet. Tang Nianyan's back walked away, and her cold voice, put it in the account. Zhang Xueqing and Deng Chongqing couldn't catch up, and they were a little panicked when they saw the rice on the ground. We remember this girl's kindness in our hearts. Deng Chongqing mentioned the rice. There must be more than 10 pounds. Mixed with sweet potatoes, it can be eaten for half a month. This girl saved his and Lao Zhang's life. I hope I can repay this child one day. The swelling on Zhang Xueqing's face subsided a little, and his spirits were much better. He was mainly malnourished, and he would be fine after eating. Of course, there will be. We can't lose heart. Deng Chongqing was full of confidence. The future must be bright. Isn't there a beautiful and kind girl to help them? Lu Jinglan, who was working in the field, looked up at the mountain. At midnight on April 6th, Zhang Lao and the cowshed had a high fever. In the previous life, it was Tang Nianyan who saved Zhang Lao. Now that she was reborn, she must grab this opportunity. Now she couldn't contact Zhang Lao. She had to wait until the most difficult time, when she would appear like an angel. Such kindness would make Zhang Lao remember deeply, and he would naturally repay the life-saving grace with all his strength. Zhang Lao was a world-renowned scientist with special confidential data. Later, he became the person in charge of the 5S-level confidential project and a professor at Jingqing University. He had many students all over the world. As long as she could curry favor with Zhang Lao, she would definitely not have to worry about connections in the future. Lu Jinglan was very proud. She was reborn and was destined to live a better life than Tang Nianyan. But the emptiness on her neck instantly ruined her good mood. She had to get the jade gourd back. You miss a man. The country asked you to support rural construction, not to miss a man. Old Mrs. Tang saw the woman laughing from a distance, laughing as if she had stolen a man, so she yelled and scolded. Everyone else turned their heads and stared at Lu Jinglan with teasing eyes. I'm just tired. Take a rest. Why do you have to say it so badly? Lu Jinglan was ashamed and angry, and she went over. Old Lady Tang immediately became alert, threw to the ground, rolled up her sleeves, put her hands on her hips, and cursed. You thief! How dare you complain about my words? You two sisters have played the trick on me. Look at your skin. You have been in the countryside for half a year, but you are still so white and tender. All the work is done by Higuaqing. Are you here to work or to men? That thief Higuaqing went to the farm, and that Yang Hongling dared not go out. You are lazy because no one works for you. How much work have you done since you started working? Look at this piece of land. You are scratching it. Old Lady Tang was very righteous and strong, because she was good at farm work and earned 8 work points every day. The team leader came over and Old Lady Tang immediately complained. Lu Jinglan was slacking off, and she was scratching itchy when I asked her to the land. I have been working all the time. Lu Jinglan's eyes were red, and she felt very aggrieved. You've been scratching your itch. Look at the land you've been hoeing. If you eat like this, the whole team will go hungry this year. Old Mrs. Tang pointed to the land where only a shallow layer of soil had been hoed and cursed. The team leader's expression became serious, and he said dissatisfiedly, Comrade Lu Jinglan, I hope you can take farm work seriously. If you continue to work like this, I will report it to the commune truthfully. He didn't want such educated youth who were slacking off, and they had to be sent back. The fate of the educated youth who were sent back was farm transformation. Lu Jinglan was panicked and afraid, tears streaming down her face. She didn't dare to argue. She obediently picked up and hoed the land with all her strength. After a while, several blisters appeared on her hands. After the blisters broke, it was hot and painful. Lu Jinglan finished the hoeing that day while crying and only earned 5 work points. Lu Jinglan cried and promised that she would work farm work and stop slacking off, and only then did the team leader let her go. Old Mrs. Tang snorted complacently and rolled her eyes at her. You shameless, just wait for her. If you dare to harm her Tang family, don't expect to live a comfortable life in the future. Although it was Yang Hongling who pushed Tang Nianyan into the water, Lu Jinglan was Yang Hongling's sister, so they were in the same group and were enemies that old Mrs. Tang had to deal with. Lu Jinglan's face was burning. She felt countless sharp eyes and all kinds of discussions, as if she was being criticized in front of countless people, making her feel ashamed. The Tang family, she originally just wanted to stay in Tang Village and behave herself until the college entrance examination. Since the Tang family was the first to commit a crime, don't blame her for being rude. Lu Jinglan bit her lower lip hard, her fingernails dug into the flesh of her palm, and a trace of ruthlessness appeared on her plain face. It has been more than half a year since she was reborn. Everything has been going smoothly, but in the past 2 days, she has suffered a series of setbacks. It is all related to Tang Nianyan. This is really her nemesis. Either she or Tang Nianyan or Tang Nianyan or she. Lu Jinglan returned to the educated youth camp tiredly. She didn't want to move when she lay on the bed. Her whole body felt like it was run over by a train, and her bones were about to break. "Cousin, are you feeling better?" Lu Jinglan rested for nearly an hour. Yang Hongling was still lying on the bed. The other educated youths had prepared meals. The aroma of the food drifted in from the window, making her stomach growl. There were a total of 14 educated youths in the educated youth camp, 8 male educated youths and 6 female educated youths. They used to cook together with 2 people assigned to cook every day. It happened to be Monday's turn and Sunday's turn. But after working together for a while, Lu Jinglan couldn't get used to the big pot meal. She had money and tickets, and her family would send parcels from time to time. She couldn't bear to take them out and share them with everyone, so she proposed to cook separately. Of course, the other educated youths had no objection. Lu Jinglan seemed to be approachable, but in fact, she was very arrogant. She usually didn't talk to other educated youths. Everyone was smart, so they were alienated from the sisters. They were very happy that Lu Jinglan cooked for them. After the cooking, they had to buy the pots and collect the firewood by themselves. They couldn't eat the vegetables ordered by the educated youths. After all, they were grown by everyone, and Lu Jinglan had never watered them. Lu Jinglan agreed to everything. She paid for the pots, hired someone to build the stove, and brought out the sausages and luncheon meat. Yang Hongling was responsible for the work. The 2 sisters paid and worked, and they were quite harmonious. "Cousin, what else do you feel uncomfortable about?" Lu Jinglan asked again. Yang Hongling didn't respond just now, and she felt a little dissatisfied. She worked so hard outside, but she couldn't even have a hot meal when she came back. Yang Hongling was too lazy. Yang Hongling couldn't pretend to be dead anymore and began to hum, hoping that Lu Jinglan would go to cook. She was also starving to death.
"Cousin, I'm hungry. Go cook."
Lu Jinglan was no longer polite. She gave her cousin 10 yuan a month, and it was her cousin's job to work. Besides, her cousin only lost 8 teeth. Her hands and feet were not broken, which did not affect her cooking at all. Yang Hongling felt her cousin's dissatisfaction, so she had to climb down the bed, humming as she walked. Lu Jinglan was indifferent, lying down with her eyes closed, and said, "Cousin, steam an egg custard for me. Put more sesame oil, and don't put chopped green onions." She saw the eggs under the bed. There were 20 or 30 of them, probably sent by Qi Guohua.
"Oh."
Yang Hongling responded sullenly and took 2 eggs. She had lost so many teeth, so she had to make up for them. In the evening, she steamed a bowl of egg custard, fried some vegetable moss, and steamed some rice. The 2 sat face to face to eat. "Jinglan, I want to go to the county town to get dentures," Yang Hongling asked tentatively when they were halfway through the meal. It would cost at least a few dozen yuan to get 8 teeth fixed. She wanted to get the money from her cousin.
"Yeah."
Lu Jinglan looked indifferent. She held a bowl of egg custard and ate it in small bites. Her movements seemed very elegant, but there was an indescribable awkwardness, as if she was holding it intentionally. "Jinglan, can you lend me some money?" Yang Hongling was a little dissatisfied. Shouldn't her cousin take the initiative to give money? After going to the countryside, she did all the heavy, tiring, and dirty work. Her cousin had everything she wanted, and she was always enjoying the scenery while working. If she hadn't been the hardworking ox, would her cousin have such a comfortable life? "I just paid 100 yuan. We don't have much money left. We still need to buy rice and oil." Lu Jinglan frowned slightly, did some calculations, and changed her tone. "How about this? I'll pay 20 yuan. I really don't have any more. Yang Hongling, who had originally had no hope, was immediately happy when she heard that there was 20 yuan. She tried to give the remaining egg custard in her bowl to Lu Jinglan. You re-injured, eat more. Lu Jinglan's eyes were full of disgust. She didn't want to eat other people's saliva, but she said it very nicely, which moved Yang Hongling. Cousin, you and Qi Guohua should hurry up and get the marriage certificate. He will be promoted soon. If he is promoted, he will definitely be more popular. The reason why Lu Jinglan was willing to tolerate Yang Hongling was first, she wanted someone to work, and second, Qi Guohua. In the previous life, Qi Guohua also proposed to cancel the engagement because Zhou Siren fell in love with Tang Niannian at first sight and put pressure on Qi Guohua in the army privately. As the most favored young master of the Zhou family, Zhou Siren was domineering since he was a child. He had to get whatever he wanted, and the Zhou family was willing to spoil him. The Zhou family had many connections in the military. Although Qi Guohua was promoted at that time, he was just a small platoon leader and could not compete with the Zhou family at all, so he took the initiative to cancel the engagement with Tang Niannian. Not long after, Zhou Siren was engaged to Tang Niannian, and the Zhou family also liked Tang Niannian very much. This was like a favorite of heaven, loved by everyone, and even had super rich biological parents in Hong Kong. After the two sides of the strait exchanged, they came back to find this and funded this to open a company. In the previous life, when Lu Jinglan was beaten to death by Yang Baozhen, the rogue, she happened to fall on a newspaper with a high-definition photo of Tang Niannian on it. She won the title of the top 10 young people in Shanghai, attended the award ceremony, and received the certificate from the mayor. Seeing this photo, Lu Jinglan spat out a mouthful of blood unwillingly. Why? She was no worse than Tang Niannian in every way. Why was her fate so different? Perhaps God had mercy on her and she came back again, giving her the opportunity to change her life. In this life, she must be happier than Tang Niannian. Cousin, Qi Guohua is a dragon among men. He will definitely have a great future. You have to take him down as soon as possible. Lu Jinglan advised earnestly. In the previous life, after Qi Guohua and Tang Niannian broke off their engagement, they were selected to carry out a confidential mission. All the people who participated in the mission died. Only Qi Guohua survived and successfully completed the mission. From then on, he was promoted 3 levels in a row, and his official position became bigger and bigger, but he still missed Tang Niannian and helped this a lot. Lu Jinglan looked down on Qi Guohua. No matter how promising this man was, he could not compare to Zhou Siren, so she let Yang Hongling go. Yang Hongling looked shy and nodded. She liked Qi Guohua very much too. Tang Niannian had already arrived at the county town. After riding for more than an hour, her was numb from the bumps. The roads were now bumpy, and the road conditions were very bad. Unfortunately, she couldn't take out all the good cars in her space. She had been on a business trip to Zhucheng in her previous life. Although it was a small county town, it was one of the top 100 counties in the country, with a very developed economy and a very prosperous county town. She was an electromechanical engineer and worked in a German-funded enterprise in Shanghai. For a while, she worked in the after-sales service department. Because although the work intensity in the after-sales service department was high and she had to travel frequently, the subsidies and travel expenses were high. The travel expenses and subsidies saved every month were more than her salary. She worked in the after-sales service department for 3 years and saved enough for the down payment of a house. Then she went to the idle technical department to do research and development. Unfortunately, she didn't enjoy it for a year before the end of the world broke out. Tang Niannian stood on the street, looking at the gray city in front of her. There were no high-rise buildings, no colorful neon lights, and no traffic. It was just an inconspicuous small county town. The pedestrians on the street were also gray, wearing clothes with gray, blue, and black as the basic colors. Both men and women had short hair. There were almost no fat people or bald people on the street. Everyone had thick black hair, full of energy and spirit, walked with their heads held high, with a confident smile on their faces, and their eyes were firmer than the oath of joining the party. Tang Niannian stood on the side of the road for a long time, watching these pedestrians coming and going. The ethereal feeling that suddenly came through seemed to have settled at this moment. From then on, she was Nyugulu Tang Nyen Nyen in this world. She would live a good life for her original body. The current Jucheng County is very small, and it only takes half an hour to ride a bike to visit it. There are not many factories. In the previous life, Jucheng had many factories of all sizes, and it was basically a plate economy, and each town had a characteristic industrial chain. She remembered that there was a town that was the capital of the socks industry, and the socks produced accounted for 90% of the world. There was also a town that was the capital of pearls, and the cultured freshwater pearls accounted for 90% of the world. There are also the hometown of hardware, the hometown of shirts, the hometown of weaving, the hometown of Torreya Grandis, etc. Because of the successful industrial chain, the villages lead the villages, and the people lead the people. The economy of each village is very developed, and every household has built a small villa. In her previous life, Tang Nyen Nyen went on a business trip to Jucheng, which was to provide after-sales service for a machinery factory in the hometown of hardware. There were 7 listed companies in that town. The small town was more prosperous than some big cities. The rural areas were also clean and tidy, and everyone lived in big villas, which opened her eyes. However, the people of Jucheng are still struggling on the poverty line, and they can't even solve the problem of food and clothing. Tang Nyen Nyen is a little excited. The spring breeze of reform and opening up is about to all over the land. Zhejiang province is a pioneer. She has the technology, ability, and has predicted 2 centuries. She will definitely become a rich generation and no longer have to be a miserable working animal. Looking forward to the beautiful and prosperous future, Tang Nyen Nyen is in a very good mood, and her cold face has a smile. She looked around and prepared to inquire about the black market and deal with the hares and pheasants in the backpack. According to her experience of reading period novels in her previous life, the black market is usually in a hidden alley, and there will be people guarding the entrance. The county town is only this small, and Tang Nyen Nyen soon found a suspicious alley. At the entrance of the alley, there was an old man looking around, sneaking around. Tang Nyen Nyen parked the car, locked it, put on a black hooded windbreaker outside, and tied a scarf, covering most of his face, leaving only his eyes exposed. "Uncle, change things." Tang Nyen Nyen approached the uncle and handed him a red Double Happiness cigarette. She remembered that this brand existed in the 1970s. The vigilance on the uncle's face disappeared, and he took the cigarette with a smile, put it under his nose and sniffed it, and his smile deepened. This is a high-end product. He couldn't bear to smoke it, so he clamped it on his ear and waited for 2 or 3 days to sniff it and get enough of it before smoking it. Tang Nyen Nyen showed the uncle the things in the backpack, and the uncle stretched out a slap and said, 5 cents. It's free to buy inside, but it costs 5 cents to sell. Tang Nyen Nyen took out a handful of money from her pocket. There were 10 yuan and 5 yuan notes and some cents. She took out a 5-cent note and handed it to the old man. The old man was secretly shocked. This girl was too rich. This handful of money was at least 20. Girl, there are all kinds of people in there. Put your things in your pocket. The old man reminded her, with a double meaning. There are all kinds of people in the black market, and there are many pickpockets, but they are usually small scale and dare not make a big deal. If they do, the person in charge of the black market will definitely not allow it. Thank you, old man. Tang Nyen Nyen nodded and put the money back into her pocket, but actually put it into the space. Even a thief could not get her money. The real black market is different from what she imagined. She thought it was very lively, but it was actually quite deserted. The alley was only about 50 meters long, and there was a person squatting every 1 or 2 meters. There were not many things in front of them, just 1 or 2 small bags. Most of them were agricultural products, such as soybeans, sweet potatoes, chestnuts, and vegetables. There was very little rice, flour, and oil, and even less meat. There were also some cloth sellers, including nylon, dacron, and corduroy. Cloth was quite popular, and many people went to buy it. There were people selling food, but not much. These things were not enough to satisfy hunger, and they were not lucrative. People in the city only wanted food, but there was a shortage of food in the countryside, and there was no extra food to exchange. There were also a few people squatting at the end of the alley, wearing hats with their brims pulled down very low. There was nothing in front of them, and they would look up from time to time, looking very suspicious. Girl, do you want to exchange cloth? The best Dacron floral cloth. The department store charges 8 cents a foot, and you need a ticket, but I don't need a ticket, $1 a foot. The cloth seller saw Tang Nianyan and whispered hard to sell it. It seemed that he saw that Tang Nianyan was a rich person, and he took out a few pieces of cloth and asked her to choose the pattern. Tang Nianyan shook her head. She wanted to get rid of a batch of Dacron cloth in the space. They were all nostalgic. After the reform and opening up, these cloths would be worthless, so it would be better to sell them now to make money. Girl, do you want nylon socks? $1 and $2 a pair. Another man came over, holding a few pairs of colorful nylon socks in his hand. This kind of socks was particularly popular in the 1970s and 1980s. It was durable and would not break even after a year of wearing. The old nylon socks were very strong, but the feet would smell very bad after wearing them. In the 1990s, few people wore them, and they were replaced by various cotton socks and bamboo charcoal socks. So expensive? Tang Nianyan blurted out. $1 and $2 in 1976 could weigh 1.5 pounds of pork. How could socks be so expensive? In the 1970s, nylon socks did cost more than $1 a pair. The author asked the old man about it. Girl, these are nylon socks. $1 and $2 is not expensive. They will not break even after wearing them for several years. Department stores also charge this price. The man explained with a smile. I'll buy a dozen. It's cheaper. Tang Nianyan has a lot of cotton socks in her space, but she can't take them out. The style and material are different from the current nylon socks. Taking them out will expose the secret of her space. After 3 years in the end of the world, she learned a lesson: it's better to be safe than sorry. She wore nylon socks on her feet. There was a hole in her big toe, and her toes poked out and pressed against her sneakers, which was very uncomfortable. But her socks were still the best in the family. The socks of Mrs. Tang, Su Jinfeng, and Tang Jujin were all patched up, and you couldn't even tell what they were. Tang Nianyan had a good impression of the Tang family. Although everyone in this family had shortcomings, they were really good to the original body. They let the original body choose the best food and clothes. Even the snobbish old lady Tang was not bad to the original body. She scolded the original body fiercely, but she didn't let the original body work, and even let her go to high school. The 3 granddaughters had to work since they were young, and the clothes they wore were all left by the original body. From this point, it can be seen that the family tradition of the Tang family is quite upright, all because of the good teaching of Grandpa Tang Qingshan. When the man heard that he wanted to buy a dozen, he couldn't close his mouth and said, "Girl, you are so straightforward. Then each pair will be 5 cents cheaper. A dozen is 11.5 yuan. 10 yuan. These socks of yours are not fixed." Tang Nianyan could see at a glance that the socks were loose and had never been fixed. Either the man took them directly from the factory or he made them himself, and there were still a few processes that were not completed. Shaping is like ironing clothes. Socks will be more beautiful after shaping. Socks that have not been shaped will not affect the quality, but they are not very beautiful. The man smiled awkwardly and saw that Tang Nianyan was an expert. These socks were taken out by his wife in the factory secretly. She took 1 or 2 pairs a day, and she would sell them when she had accumulated more than 10 pairs. Then it's 10 yuan. Girl, you are so young, but you have a sharp eye. The man also agreed very readily. The sooner you sell, the sooner you can go home. You are so nervous and a little panicked here. Tang Nianyan picked out 10 pairs. She originally wanted to pick solid colors, but the man's socks were all fancy. Maybe this is the popular style now. She took out a big unity and was about to pay the man. Girl, what's in your backpack? The man kept looking into the backpack, but unfortunately it was covered with a sack and he couldn't see clearly. Hare, pheasant. Tang Nianyan opened the sack, revealing the meat inside. The man's eyes lit up and he swallowed his saliva. He hadn't eaten meat for a long time. Girl, how much are these? The weights are about the same. Hare weighs 7 or 8 pounds, $2.50 each. Pheasant weighs 4 or 5 pounds, $2 each. Tang Nian had asked Mrs. Tang about the market in advance, and the price was not high. I want 2 pheasants, 2 hares, and you just need to give me $1. The man seemed to be from a well-off family, and he wanted 4 at once. Tang Nian put away the big unity, took out $1 and handed it to him, and asked him to choose the hare and pheasant by himself. The man picked each one and found that they were indeed about the same weight, so he picked 2 each. Tang Nian also gave him a sack for free. Girl, do you have pork? The man asked in a low voice. What he coveted the most was pork, especially pork belly, which was so delicious. How about wild boar meat? Sure. When will it be available? In a week, wherever you live. I'll deliver it to you. Tang Nian didn't want to come to the black market again. She felt unsafe. What if she got caught by the red armbands and charged with speculation? It would be more trouble than gain. The dormitory of the sock factory. When you go there, look for Xia Hongmei. She is my wife. Just say she is a relative from the countryside. The man was overjoyed. He didn't want to come to the black market either. He would have nightmares for several nights after coming here, and he was almost scared to death. Tang Nian took out a small notebook and wrote it down solemnly. Xia Hongmei from the sock factory. Good pork. Cousin from the countryside came to visit. The man had good eyesight and saw it clearly. The corners of his mouth twitched. This girl was quite serious about her work. He had sold almost all the socks he brought and bought meat. He left happily. Other vendors surrounded him and tried to sell their goods to Tang Nian. There were all kinds of goods, but none of them were what Tang Nian wanted. She walked directly to the people in the corner. Take a look. Tang Nian squatted down and asked directly. These people didn't put their goods out. They must be things that cannot be seen in the light. The first person she found was a thin old man, about 60 or 70 years old, with white hair and beard, and a face so thin that there was no flesh. But even though he was squatting, he still had a proud temperament, and he was obviously an old man with a story. Girl, I only exchange for food. The old man said in a faint voice. Let me see something. Tang Nian felt at her pocket, stretched out her hand, and there were a few more white rice in her palm, shaking it in front of the old man. The old man's breathing became rapid. He took out a cloth bag from his coat, untied it layer by layer, revealing a crimson-black wooden box, which still exuded a faint fragrance. Red sandalwood? Tang Nian asked in a low voice. The old man nodded slightly, with an admiring look in his eyes. The little girl was a connoisseur. He opened the wooden box a little, moved in front of Tang Nian, and a clear green light shot out. In the box was an imperial green bracelet, which was emerald green and flawless. Tang Nian went on a business trip to a listed company before. The boss's wife wore an imperial green ring face, which was about the same color as this bracelet. The boss's wife said that she spent 100 million to buy the ring face. Her heartbeat was getting faster and faster, and her breathing was getting more and more rapid. A ring face costs 100 million, so this bracelet must be at least 1 billion, right? It's rich. How do you want to exchange it? Tang Nian suppressed her excitement and acted very calmly, as if she was facing only a piece of glass. 500 kilograms of rice, 200 kilograms of flour. Girl, you know the goods. My bracelet was in the past, and it was invaluable. The old man looked at the bracelet with regret. He couldn't bear to take out the other things. Those were historical treasures. This bracelet was his wife's dowry, and now he could only take it out to exchange for food. I'll give you 500 kilograms of rice and 300 kilograms of flour. Where do you send them? Tang Nian agreed readily. She had a lot of food in her space, and it was a great bargain for her to exchange it for this bracelet. Although she had no conscience, she didn't like to take advantage of others. The old man gave an address and asked her to send it after dark. Thank you. The old man thanked him softly. He took out the bracelet and took a gamble. If he met someone rude and unreasonable, he might lose both his money and his life. Fortunately, he met this kind girl. See you in the evening. Do you want to give me the bracelet first? Don't worry, although I am not a good person, I will not take advantage of others. The reason why Tang Yanyan wanted to get the bracelet first was because she saw several suspicious men who walked back and forth in front of her several times, obviously aiming at the old man's bracelet. With the old man's frail body, he couldn't even walk back and forth, and his life might be in danger. The old man also saw it and refused. You can't beat them. He couldn't hurt the girl. Tang Yanyan smiled, and there was an extra walnut in her hand. In front of the old man, she squeezed her slender hands, and with a click, the walnut broke and the fragrance spread out. Here, she blew away the walnut shell residue and stuffed the rest of the meat to the old man. The old man swallowed his saliva and ate the walnut meat in one bite. The rich aroma moved him so much that he wanted to cry. It had been a long time since he had eaten such a delicious walnut. Here you go. The old man stuffed the box into Tang Yanyan without hesitation. He felt that this girl was not the kind of person who would go against her conscience, so he just took it as a gamble. And even if he didn't hand it over, the things would be snatched away by those scoundrels when he left the alley. I'll go over there in the evening. Tang Yanyan put the box into the backpack and took a pheasant to the old man, a bonus. She only took advantage of bad people, and the old man was pitiful. He didn't feel any sense of accomplishment after taking advantage of them. The old man's eyes were red. Since the turmoil, he had been insulted or looked down upon. Even his relatives had cut off contact with his family. This girl is really a good person. The rogues did not follow the old man. They saw the box on Tang Yanyan. When the girl came out of the black market, they would take action. Tang Yanyan did not look at them. The things the other people brought were not rare. They were gold and silver jewelry and yuan datu. The money they asked for was not much. 1 yuan datu only cost $1, and the gold bracelet did not cost much. She took them all. Then she went to find the person in charge of the black market and asked the old man at the entrance of the alley. The person in charge was in the alley. He was a middle-aged man with a fierce look and a scar on his face. It was obvious that he was not a good person. Talk to Beige if you have anything. The old man introduced the identity of the person in charge. Although he was old, he was very confident when he called Beige. Mina was also very calm. He looked at Tang Yanyan and asked in a cold voice, "What do you have?" "It's just a small deal. 100 rolls of Dacron cloth." As soon as Tang Yanyan said this, Mina's eyes flickered, not quite believing it. Dacron cloth is hard to get now, and is in short supply. Where did this girl come from? Where did you come from? Mina, don't ask where it comes from. As long as I can get the cloth, it's fine. Tang Yanyan's expression became even colder. Okay, if you really have cloth, I'll take it at 60 cents a foot. Mina smiled. 70 cents, my cloth is of good quality. I don't have trouble selling it. 65 cents. 68 cents. Good luck. The two bargained for a while and finally made a deal at 68 cents a foot. Tang Yanyan said she could get 100 rolls of cloth, but in fact she said it was less. At the end of the world, she took over several cloth factories and took over all the stocks. In addition to Dacron, there are also cashmere, corduroy, cotton, silk, etc. Because she has a large space, she will take anything she sees. At 7:30 p.m., in the small woods west of the city, Tang Yanyan said the place of transaction and said that she wanted cash and food coupons, 500 kilograms of food coupons, and the rest will be exchanged for cash or antique jewelry. As the person in charge of the black market, Beige must have a lot of good stuff in his hands. Now these things are worthless. She bought a lot of them, and in a few years she can open a private museum. Okay. Beige agreed readily. He really had some good things in his hands, and he was worried about where to sell them. He felt a little sorry for the cash, but he didn't feel sorry for these things at all. In the previous years, when the 4 olds were destroyed, he collected a lot of these things and they were piled up in the warehouse, and it was just the right time to clear out a batch. Beige also took the remaining hares and pheasants, and the price was according to Tang Yanyan's, for hares plus 3 pheasants, a total of 16 yuan. With the protection of the people of Beige, the scoundrels dared not follow. Tang Yanyan left the black market. It was almost 11 o'clock now. She touched her stomach and did not go to the state-owned restaurant for dinner. She had money, but no food coupons, so she could not afford to eat. She found a secluded place, took out a hare and a pheasant from the space, and rode to the machinery factory to find her second uncle. Second Uncle Tang Manin was a temporary worker in the machinery factory, and second aunt worked in the sock factory. The couple rented a single room in the machinery factory and returned to Tang village once a month. From the memory of the original body, we know that Tang Manin is a bit snobbish and wants to be an official, but he is very filial to old lady Tang and treats several nieces well. It's just that second aunt Xianjinju is a bit stingy. Every time she buys snacks and candies home, they're the cheapest. Tang Manin, who wants to be an official, is now just a humble temporary worker. Even the gatekeeper dares to yell at him, and Tang Manin has to smile. Because the gatekeeper is a formal worker. In the original body's memory, there is a younger uncle named Tang Mantong, who is the late-born son of Mrs. Tang, and is only 25 years old. Because he is the late-born son, the younger uncle is a bit lazy and wants to make a fortune every day. He also said that even if you farm till you die, you won't get rich, so Tang Mantong would hang around outside for at least half a year, just like a vagrant, under the pretext of going out to investigate the market, but every time he came back, he was penniless. In the hearts of the people in Tang village, Tang Mantong was only slightly better than Tang Laolu. After all, Tang Mantong was young and handsome, and his family conditions were not bad, but he was even more lazy than Tang Laolu. This guy never went to the fields all year round, and he couldn't even tell the difference between leeks and wheat seedlings. Tang Nian pulled the corner of her mouth. The original body had a good relationship with her uncle because although Tang Mantong was lazy, he would bring some new things from outside every time he came back, such as the beautiful clothes, beautiful hairpins, scarves, and leather shoes that the original body wore, which were all brought back by Tang Mantong. This uncle's thoughts were actually ahead of this era, but it was a pity that he was born at the wrong time. If Tang Mantong was born after the reform and opening up, he might also be a first-generation rich. I don't know where Tang Mantong is hanging out now. The book seems to say that he came back after Qingming Festival. Tang Nian rode her bike to the Red Star Machinery Factory. The old man who was guarding the gate was dozing off, his head nodding, and saliva dripping from the corners of his mouth. "Uncle!" Tang Nian called a few times and finally woke the old man up. "What are you doing?" The old man's tone was not good. He was dreaming of eating braised pork. He had picked it up and almost ate it. He was very angry now. This girl had better have a serious job, otherwise don't blame him for being rude. "My second uncle is Tang Manin, and I am his niece." Tang Nian handed over 2 cigarettes. The old man, who had a bad face, immediately turned from gloomy to bright and smiled very kindly. "Niece Manin, it's almost time to get off work. You can go in." The red double happiness that people used to smoke in the past. "Thank you, uncle." Tang Nian pulled the corner of her mouth, which was her polite smile. But in fact, the action of pulling the corner of her mouth can be completely ignored. To outsiders, it looks like she has no expression. After she entered the factory, the old man sniffed the cigarette happily and muttered to himself, "This girl is pretty, but her face is a little numb." The machinery factory is very large, and the workshops are bustling with activity. Tang Manin works in a workshop. He is a fitter with average technical level. According to the technical rating, he is just a junior. Tang Manin has only been in the machinery factory for a few years. He used to work as a scorekeeper in Tang village. It was also an easy job, and he could get full work points. But Tang Manin is a quick-witted person and is not satisfied with being a scorekeeper for life. It happened that 5 years ago, a relative of Xianjinju's mother's family who worked in the machinery factory suffered from lumbar disc herniation. He felt pain when he worked, and he couldn't even stand or sit. He could only rest at home. When Tang Manin heard about this, he bought 2 bottles of good wine and went to the door. He said all the good words and finally got this temporary job. Xianjinju's relative is a 4th-level fitter and can get a salary of 54 yuan a month. Tang Manin took over a shift, and the monthly salary of 18 yuan was paid by this relative, and the rest of the money was paid by the relative. Of course, this relative could not get the full salary, only 45 yuan a month. He gave Tang Manin 18 yuan, and there was 27 yuan left, which was his net income. Moreover, Tang Manin had to buy gifts and visit him during festivals to thank him, while this relative lay at home every day, earning 27 yuan a month, and there were also festival gifts every now and then. This is the confidence of a formal employee. In this era, formal workers are equivalent to ancient titles. They can be inherited. When parents retire, their children can take over, or they can sell it to other people. That's why people nowadays are proud to be workers in state-owned factories. This is the golden rice bowl, glorious and great. After work at 11:30 at noon, Tang Niannian went to the workshop to find her second uncle. She had taken off her black windbreaker and scarf, revealing her beautiful face and slim figure. Just standing at the door of the workshop, she attracted the attention of a group of young men, like a wolf seeing meat. "Hey, who is that girl looking for? Who's the one who's here?" There are many male bachelors in the machinery factory. It's not that they can't find a partner, but their requirements are too high. After all, they hold a golden rice bowl, and they look down on ordinary girls. "Comrade, please call my second uncle Tang Manin." Tang Niannian called an old master at the door. "Manin, your niece is here." The master didn't move his feet, but shouted at the top of his voice, and the sound of the machine tools was suppressed by him. The eyes of the young men in the workshop were shining. It turned out to be Tang Manin's niece. After that, Tang Manin was very popular in the machinery factory, which made him flattered. He thought that the leader appreciated him and wanted to make him a regular employee. This is a story for later. Now Tang Manin is still grinding nuts with dust all over his face. Hearing that his niece was coming, he hurried out and was stunned when he saw that it was Tang Niannian. It was the first time for his second niece to come to his place. The most frequent visitors were Wu Jin and Lu Jin. Lu Jin went to school in the city and would come here often. Niannian didn't like the machinery factory and said it was too dirty and she was too lazy to come. "Niannian, why are you here? Is there something wrong at home?" Tang Manin was a little panicked. Could it be that his mother was in trouble? "Nothing, I brought you something." Tang Niannian took out a wild rabbit from the backpack and shook it. Tang Manin's eyes lit up and his mouth was drooling. Where did the rabbit come from? Since his father passed away, the family has not eaten game anymore, and he is so greedy. "I took a taxi. Uncle, I'm hungry. Let's go home and cook." Tang Niannian's stomach growled a few times. She ate a few small breads on the way, but she was not hungry. "I'll tell the director." Tang Manin went in to ask for leave. "Uncle Manin, I'll do your work for you." The young men rushed to help him with the work and asked him about Tang Niannian's age. "Uncle Manin, how old is your niece?" "She's only 17, and she's already engaged." Tang Manin saw through these people's thoughts at a glance and quickly explained that he didn't know about the broken engagement. The young men were very disappointed, but soon cheered up again. It was just an engagement, not a marriage, so they still had hope. Tang Manin ignored them, washed his hands, and took Tang Niannian to the dormitory building. The dormitory building of the machinery factory has 4 floors. It is a tube building with a corridor in the middle and rooms on both sides. It was brought over from the Soviet Union. Tang Manin and his family lived in a single room of 15 square meters. The small house was divided into 2 rooms with a cloth, and there were bunk beds inside, where Tang Manin's son and daughter lived. The room outside was where they slept, and it also served as a dining room and living room. The furniture was so crowded that it was difficult to even turn around. The stove was in the corridor, as were the other families. The corridor was filled with stoves. At noon, everyone cooked outside, and everyone could see clearly what was being eaten. At this time, it was not time to get off work, so few people were cooking in the corridor. Second Aunt Xianjinju had lunch at the sock factory, and the 2 children were in school, so they also had lunch at school. "I'll go light the fire." Tang Manin usually had lunch in the cafeteria, but since his niece was here, he definitely couldn't go to the cafeteria, so he had to prepare something good for her. Coal briquettes in the city were rationed, and people had to save on burning coal. Generally, they would burn at most 2 coals a day, and they had to light a fire every day. If they didn't turn off the fire at night, they would waste 1 more briquette. Tang Manin picked up the stove and ran downstairs to light a fire. He lit a ball of newspaper, then poured some charcoal. Soon, thick smoke billowed, and he used a fan to fan the air from below, making the smoke even thicker. When I was a kid, I always made fire like this, and my eyes always got teary. Tang Manin coughed and fanned the air. After a few minutes, the smoke faded, and he went upstairs. His eyes were already red from the smoke. Tang Niannian's mouth twitched. In this era, making a fire would risk blindness. What a sin! While her second uncle was making a fire, Tang Niannian had already processed the rabbit. She only chopped half of it, and the remaining half would be eaten by her second aunt and cousins in the evening. She also took out a bag of rice, weighing more than 20 kilograms. Do you have any rice at home? Tang Manin was very skeptical. The village must be short of food at this time. My classmate has a way. It's 1.8 yuan per kilogram. Tang Niannian made up another classmate out of thin air. Anyway, she had a lot of rice in her space, and she couldn't eat it all when she planted tens of thousands of acres of land in her space. 1.8 yuan? Niannian, can you buy more? Tang Manin lowered his voice. The price was too affordable. It's gone this month. I'll see next month. Tang Niannian shook her head. She couldn't take out too much at a time. Tang Manin was a little disappointed. He wanted to get some more gifts to give to the leaders. There were 2 quotas for regularization this year. Many people in the factory were giving gifts. He had been a temporary worker for 5 years. If he could be regularized, he would get a salary of 34.5 yuan per month and could eat commercial grain. When would it be his turn to live such a good life? Second uncle, Qi Guohua, and I have broken off the engagement. Tang Niannian talked about family matters while cooking. She had to inform her second uncle about the breakup. Did that Qi Guohua bring it up? Tang Manin was furious. Ever since that went to the army, the Qi families have been looking up more and more, and their tone of voice has been getting more and more arrogant. He knew that this day would come sooner or later. Are they all dead in the Tang family? No, I asked for it. Qi Guohua was having an affair, and I thought it was dirty, so I asked for 100 yuan in damages. The 100 yuan owed must be returned. Tang Niannian explained the whole story in a concise manner. Tang Manin was satisfied, but still angry. Even if she compensated him, her niece's reputation would be damaged, so she should have asked for more money. That seems to be promoted in the army. This will definitely be promoted in the future. Tang Manin was full of envy and jealousy. God was really blind. How could he let such a get promoted? Why didn't God look at him? He was so smart and capable, much better than Qi Guohua. No promotion. Tang Niannian's voice was indifferent. Since she had come here, Qi Guohua would never be promoted in his life. Whether he could stay in the army depended on her mood. Qi Guohua's home visit leave was half a month. He had been back for 6 days. At least he could stay at home for 6 days. She would take action after he returned. Tang Manin felt that his niece was consoling herself. Qi Guohua was smart and could flatter people. Such a person would be able to get along well no matter where he was. He would definitely have a bright future and rise to prominence. He might even marry a wife from a good family. Niannian, there are many young men in the machinery factory who are in good condition. How about your uncle find one for you? Tang Manin had an idea. He remembered that the factory director's son didn't have a girlfriend yet. He was 4 or 5 years older than Niannian and also worked in the machinery factory in the purchasing department with the most money. Although the factory director's son had high standards, Niannian's appearance would definitely catch the eye of the factory director's son. If he could become a relative of the factory director, there would be no problem in getting a permanent job. Tang Manin thought about it, the more he felt it was feasible. He even wanted to talk to the factory director's wife about it right now. Of course, the factory director's son himself was very good. He was handsome and down to earth, but he was a little arrogant. But as the factory director's son, it was normal for him to be a little arrogant. If his father was the factory director, he would definitely not look down on the ground. Second uncle, don't introduce me to a date. Those people are not worthy of me. Tang Niannian reminded him first, lest this utilitarian second uncle introduce a date blindly and anger her, then he would ignore the uncle-nephew relationship. Still a fist greeting. Tang Manin was stunned. He didn't know if it was an illusion just now. He seemed to feel a murderous aura from his niece. He had felt this murderous aura from his father before. That was because his father had killed the Japanese devils, so it was normal to have murderous aura. Where did the murderous aura come from for a delicate little girl like his niece? Tang Manin shivered, and the back of his neck felt a little cold. He didn't dare to mention it again. Nian Nian had a different status in the family. His father had said before that no one in the family could force Nian Nian. As long as Nian Nian didn't break the law, she could do anything. He knew why his father said that because 17 years ago, the family was starving and couldn't even afford to eat. His eldest sister-in-law was pregnant and had never had a full meal. She gave birth to a dead baby, a girl. His father buried the dead baby in the mountains with his own hands and brought back the fair and tender Tang Nian Nian the next day, along with a lot of money and food coupons. He didn't know the exact amount, but with these money and food coupons, their family survived the famine. His father has always been a man who repays a drop of water with a spring of water. The whole family received the great grace of Tang Nian Nian's parents who saved their lives, so his father spoiled Nian Nian since he was a child, loving her more than his own grandson. If the three brothers said something harsh to this girl, the old man would glare at them. Since his niece didn't want to find a partner in the factory, Tang Manin didn't mention it again. The aroma of rabbit meat in the pot spread out, making him drool and even hungrier. Tang Nian Nian fried another pot of green vegetables and steamed a large pot of rice. Everyone else had gotten off work. When they smelled the aroma of meat in the air, their saliva flowed out. Someone took a few deep breaths and shouted, "Whose family is cooking meat?" "Tang Manin, is your family cooking meat?" Someone found out that the smell was from the Tang family, which was very sour. They didn't expect that Tang Manin, a temporary worker, could actually afford meat. They didn't have meat to eat when they were formal workers. "My niece brought wild rabbits from the countryside." Tang Manin smiled naively, and others were even more envious. The countryside is still good. There are game on the mountains and fish and shrimp in the water. As long as you are diligent, you will never go hungry. It's not like them in the city, where you have to spend money to buy even a scallion. It's really a sin. Tang Manin hurriedly carried the dishes into the house. If they were left outside, they would surely attract many people with red eyes. The uncle and nephew finished the big pot of meat, and there was no rice left. Tang Manin ate until he burped and was very satisfied. "Second uncle, here is a piece of cloth. Make clothes for Dandan." Tang Nian Nian took out a large piece of floral dacron cloth from the backpack, about 7 or 8 feet long, enough to make a set of clothes, so she didn't take more. Dandan is Tang Manin's daughter, 13 years old, in the 2nd grade of junior high school. She also has a son named Tang Dongqiang, who was born in the same year and month as Tang Lu Jin, but with a birthday a few days apart. The two cousins study in the same class. "Where did you get the cloth? So much?" Tang Manin was shocked. A foot of cloth cost 7 or 8 cents, and there were cloth coupons. This piece of cloth cost him more than half a month's salary. A classmate's family has connections, so he got the defective cloth. Tang Nian Nian had another classmate out of nowhere. She went to high school in the county town. At that time, elementary school was 5 years, junior high school and high school were 2 years each, a total of 9 years, and she graduated from high school at the age of 16. Tang Manin had no doubts. His niece was pretty, dressed as well as the girls in the city, and had good grades. When she was in high school in the city, she got along well with her classmates, and her classmates from the city often visited her home. Those who could afford to go to high school all had good family conditions. Their parents either worked in a supply and marketing cooperative or a state-owned factory. What Tang Nian Nian said was completely correct. "Nian Nian, do you have more of this cloth?" Tang Manin started to make plans again. Dacron was a good thing, and he wanted to give it to the workshop director. "No more." Tang Nian Nian thought for a while and said with a stern face, "Second uncle, this piece of cloth is for Dandan to make clothes. Don't give it to others just to flatter him." Second uncle especially loved to give gifts. He gave away all the good things at home. Although there was some effect, it was not obvious. After all, Tang Manin is just a temporary worker with limited skills and no backing. No matter how many gifts he gives, it cannot change the fact that he is in a low position. Leaders will not show love to such people. At most, they will give a smile when they meet, but don't even think about the actual benefits. In her previous life, before Tang Yanyan went to a foreign company, she worked in a state-owned enterprise for 2 years and saw all the ways of the world. She didn't like these things, so she jumped to a foreign company. But not liking doesn't mean she doesn't understand, she just disdains it. Because she has the ability, she doesn't need to flatter. Seeing through her niece's thoughts, Tang Manin looked embarrassed and said dryly, "Dandan, why does a little girl wear such beautiful clothes?" The workshop director listens to his wife. "I will send this cloth over. Maybe I can get a permanent position this year." The machinery factory has 2 permanent positions this year, and the announcement will be made in July and August. Now it is March, and there is still plenty of time to build relationships. You said the same thing last year, the year before last, the year before last, the year before last. Tang Nianyan didn't give his second uncle any face. He tightened his belt every year to give gifts, but every year he got nothing. His second uncle didn't understand at all. He had a head for nothing. Tang Manin's expression changed, a little aggrieved, and tried to save face. "The competition is too fierce. You little girl don't understand. Second uncle, you should focus on improving your business ability. Don't think about giving gifts all day long." Tang Nianyan kindly gave advice. For temporary workers like Tang Manin who have no backing, the fastest shortcut is to improve their own strength. If Tang Manin has the level of a 6th level fitter, the machinery factory will beg him to become a regular employee. Go away, go away. What do you know? Tang Manin's face became even more embarrassed. Doesn't he want to be promoted? He also wants to go to the workers, peasants, and soldiers' university. Is this something he can decide subjectively? The little girl was talking without any pain in the waist. He didn't want to give gifts either. Those were real money, all the hard-earned money he saved. How could he not feel bad to give them away? But in order to get a formal job, he had to give them away. As long as he got a permanent job, he would definitely be able to earn back the money he gave away, and his children could take over the job in the future. Tang Nianyan didn't say anything else. Anyway, it wasn't her money that was given away. The original body had a good relationship with her little cousin Dandan, so she took out a piece of cloth. Tang Manin collected the dishes and went out to wash them. He didn't even ask Tang Nianyan to do it. At home, his niece didn't work. Everyone had formed the habit of doing the work by themselves. "Master Tang, why are you washing the dishes by yourself? Doesn't your niece wash them?" "My niece doesn't do this. My mother loves her." Tang Manin explained with a smile, "Put some hot water in the rice washing water and wash the dishes." After listening to this, everyone had a new understanding of Tang Nianyan. Although she was a rural girl, she was beautiful, well-dressed, and spoiled at home. It was obvious that she didn't work. They couldn't afford to marry such a girl. Some aunts wanted to introduce their own sons and nephews to Tang Nianyan, but they immediately gave up the idea. No matter how good-looking they were, they couldn't feed them. They had to marry a virtuous wife. A lazy girl, even if she looked as beautiful as she sure, couldn't be married. "Why hasn't my old come back for dinner? Master Tang, do you know where he went?" A woman asked in a hoarse voice. "Master has a job that takes a lot of time. I guess he was so busy that he forgot to get off work."
Tang Manin answered.
The master they were talking about was a 6th level fitter in the machinery factory. There were 2 6th level fitters in the Red Star Machinery Factory, Master and Master, who were uncle and nephew. Master had retired, and Master was in his 40s. He was now the only 6th level fitter in the machinery factory, and he processed some fine parts. No matter how busy you are, you still have to eat. Old as such a. I'll go to the workshop and call him. The woman's complaining voice became farther and farther away, and she went to the workshop to call someone. Tang Manin washed the dishes and went into the house with clean dishes and chopsticks. Tang Nianyan asked, "Don't you have an 8th level fitter in your factory?" She had heard people talk about the legend of the 8th level fitter before, just like the legend of the sweeping monk. It was also said that no matter how confidential the machine tool was, it would be impossible to beat the 8th level fitter. Because the most precise parts were all made by hand, Tang Nianyan was skeptical about these words. The high-precision machine tools produced by the German company, where she worked, processed the most precise parts in the world. Could it be that they were not as good as the 8th level fitter? So Tang Nianyan had always had an idea to compete with the 8th level fitter. Do you think the 8th level fitter is a big carrot? There is only one in Zhucheng working in the Tianjin machinery factory, and he is retired. Tang Manin looked envious, because the salary of the 8th level fitter was higher than that of the factory director, with a monthly salary of 128, and one person could support a family of 10. However, the 8th level fitter at Tianjin Machinery Factory also retired, and there was no successor. Tianjin Machinery Factory now only has one 6th level fitter, the same as Hongqing. But because Tianjin once had an 8th level fitter, it has always looked down on Hongqing. The only two machinery factories in Zhucheng are not on good terms with each other, and everyone in the city knows it. Tang Nianyan asked about the 8th level fitter at Tianjin Machinery Factory again. She wanted to see him. He's retired, and his hands are shaking. Tang Manin answered casually. The old master was blurry-eyed, and his hands were shaking. He couldn't do any work, but he could still get a high salary after retirement and lived a better life than the county magistrate. Tang Nianyan was very disappointed and asked again, "There are no 8th level fitters in Zhucheng?" "There are none now, anyway. There are only two 6th level fitters. Let's see if one can be rated as 7th in the second half of the year." Tang Manin shook his head. There are ratings and assessments every year, but it is too difficult to upgrade from 6th to 8th. Master from their factory has been at the 6th level for 5 or 6 years, and has never been rated as 7th. As he got older, his hope of getting a rating was getting lower and lower. Fitter is a delicate job that requires good eyesight and hands. Master is already 40 years old. If he can't get the rating, there's probably no hope. But Tang Manin still envied Master, because a level 6 fitter could earn more than 80 yuan a month, which was enough to afford meat every day. He couldn't even think about it in this life. Tang Nianyan was even more disappointed. In such a big city like Zhucheng, there wasn't even a level 8 fitter. She had to go to Shanghai in the future. There must be a level 8 fitter there. She must compete with the level 8 fitter. Was her machine tool better, or was the level 8 fitter's hands better? Actually, there was another person who had a good chance of getting rated level 8. What a pity! Tang Manin suddenly thought of someone, and her tone was particularly regretful. Who? Tang Nianyan became interested. The apprentice of the old 8th level fitter in Tianjin factory has very good hand skills. He was rated as 6th level in his 20s. If nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely be 8th level now. What accident happened? His hand is disabled? This was the accident that Tang Nianyan thought of. The most important thing for a fitter is his hand. It is estimated that his hand is disabled. Tang Manin's face changed, and he was a little embarrassed and annoyed. He said unhappily, "Why are you asking so many questions, little girl? I'm going to work, you go to the street." This kind of thing can't be told to a niece. It's so embarrassing. Tang Nianyan was a little confused. She just asked a question. As for this expression, like watching a movie, could it be that the 8th level candidate had an affair? Tang Manin walked to the door, stopped, rummaged in his pocket for a long time, reluctantly took out a few bills, hesitated for a long time, and then stuffed them into Tang Nianyan. "Take this money, spend it sparingly." Tang Manin was heartbroken. He had finally saved some money, but it was all gone. But it was a rare visit to the city for his niece, and she brought so many things with her. As an uncle, it would be wrong for him not to show some appreciation. "Don't tell your second aunt about this money." Tang Manin turned his head away, no longer looking at the money. He felt heartbroken after seeing it, and went to work after giving instructions. Tang Nianyan counted the money in her hand, $1, 1 50-cent, and a few notes and cents, a total of $1.86. For that era, it was actually a huge sum of money. She smiled and put the money in her pocket. In the afternoon, She would go to the scrap collection station to see if she could find some treasures and college entrance examination materials. In the period novels, the scrap collection station is a must-visit place for the heroine. She didn't rush out and lay on the bed to rest. The radio sounded an exciting revolutionary song, and there was immediately more noisy footsteps in the corridor. It was time to go to work. 5 minutes later, the bell rang, and the corridor became quiet. Tang Mianyan closed her eyes and wanted to sleep for a while. She heard someone talking outside. It was Master S' wife. "Do you still want to be healthy? The chairman said that you must have a good body before you can fight for the revolution. No matter how busy or stressful the work is, you still have to eat. If I hadn't called you, you would have worked until the afternoon, and your stomach would be hungry. This batch of goods is needed urgently, with high requirements and large quantity. The machine tools in the factory cannot achieve the precision, so it can only be done manually." Master S' laughter was a bit silly, and he explained patiently. You could tell he was a loyal and honest man just by listening to his voice. "No matter how urgent it is, you still have to eat. Can't you distribute the work to the people below? No matter how much you work, your salary won't increase." Master S' wife had a bad tone, thinking that her husband was too silly. Others tried every means to do less work, but only this silly man and her family didn't know how to be lazy. Others can't do it. This is for the shipyard, and the precision requirements are high. The ship is going to the sea, and we can't be careless. Master S' tone was very serious. He must never be careless when dealing with his work. Then you have to eat too. If you fall down, who will do the work? His wife glared at him fiercely, and Master smiled even more foolishly. The couple's voices became farther and farther away, and gradually disappeared. Tang Mianyan opened her eyes. A batch of parts that were urgently needed had high precision requirements, and Master was the only one in the Red Star factory who could process them. Tang Mianyan raised her lips. Although the high-precision machine tools in her space have never competed with the 8th-level fitters, they have competed with the 6th-level fitters. The accuracy is completely fine, and the speed is fast. Even if 10 6th-level fitters work together, they can't match the speed of her machine tool. I'll ask my second uncle to find out later. Tang Mianyan dozed on the bed for half an hour, then got up, washed up, and rode out. The scrap collection station is in the west of the city, 10 miles away from the Red Star Machinery Factory. It's a quick ride there, and it's different from the collection station described in the novel. It's a state-owned regular collection station with 5 or 6 employees alone, an office, and a cashier window. The book says that the collection station is a mess, and the heroine can put treasures in the space at will, but it's basically impossible in this collection station. Because the things in the collection station are neatly arranged and the garbage is sorted, just like a warehouse, it is estimated that all these things have been put into the warehouse, and if one is missing, it will be discovered. Besides, there were no red sandalwood and mahogany antiques in the purchasing station. These good things had been handed in long ago. Tang Mianyan looked around and gave up the idea of picking up bargains. It was more reliable to go to the black market. She found some high school textbooks. She was lucky enough to find a set of self-study series of mathematics, physics, and chemistry, but there were only 12 volumes, and there were still 5 volumes missing. This set of books was the code of the college entrance examination in the period literature. In fact, many questions of the first college entrance examination were in this set of materials. There were a total of 17 volumes. The missing 5 volumes would be found later. Tang Mianyan took out a set of textbooks and materials, went to evaluate the price first, and then went to pay the fee. 15 caddies, 2 cents per caddy, pay 3 cents. These textbooks were charged according to the waste paper, which was very cheap. Tang Mianyan gave 3 cents, put the textbooks and materials into the backpack, and put them into the space after reaching a secluded place. She went to the store to weigh 10 caddies of egg cakes and 10 caddies of peach cakes, and divided 2 caddies of each, and went to Zhuqing No. 1 Middle School to visit her third sister Tang Lujin. The original body had a good relationship with Tang Lujin. This third sister was very smart and good at studying, otherwise old lady Tang would not have been able to support her to go to high school. Tang Mianyan had been to Zhuqing No. 1 Middle School in her previous life. This school was a century-old famous school. In her previous life, it was one of the top 100 famous schools in the country. It sent many students to Tsinghua University and Peking University. The teaching level was very high.
Awesome.
The address of number 1 middle school has not changed. It is on Fengyang Road, but the current teaching building is a bit old. Tang Nianyan told the security guard about Tang Liujin's class, and the security guard let her in. It is now 3:30 in the afternoon. Tang Liujin is in the first year of high school and will graduate in a year. Her class is having a physical education class. A group of young boys and girls are running on the playground. The crisp laughter makes people feel happy. Tang Nianyan stands at the edge of the playground and looks around. She is looking for Tang Liujin. There are many people on the playground. 2 classes are having physical education classes. The boys are playing basketball. The thin boys are wearing autumn clothes and are sweating profusely. The female classmates are playing in 2s and 3s. Some are playing badminton, some are kicking shuttlecock, and some are playing table tennis.
Some of them were standing in the sun chatting.
Tang Liujin didn't like sports, so she was chatting with her classmates. The boys who were playing basketball found Tang Nianyan, and they ran even harder, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They also glanced at Tang Nianyan from time to time, wondering if this beautiful girl noticed their majestic demeanor. Of course, Tang Nianyan didn't notice it. She had no interest in a group of little hairy kids who hadn't even grown their hair yet. She had already seen Tang Liujin and walked straight over. Suddenly, the basketball flew towards her at a very fast speed. "Get out of the way!" the boys exclaimed and ran towards Tang Nianyan. If such a beautiful girl was injured by a basketball, they would definitely be restless for the rest of their lives. The female classmates screamed in fear, thinking that Tang Nianyan would definitely not be able to avoid it. The basketball quickly flew in front of Tang Nianyan, and it was about to hit her beautiful face. Some timid female classmates covered their faces and dared not look down. Tang Liujin also saw it. His face changed drastically, and he ran towards Tang Nianyan, second sister. Everyone thought that Tang Nianyan would definitely be hit by the basketball. Tang Nianyan had already seen the basketball, and she could avoid it, but she was too lazy to avoid it. When the basketball was about to reach her face, she stretched out her hand to catch it, pulled it back, relieved the force of the basketball, and then threw it towards the basketball court. Her action seemed simple, and it was actually very simple, but most people couldn't do it. At least no one present could do it. They didn't have such a flexible reaction speed, let alone Tang Nianyan's strength. The boys playing basketball forgot to catch the ball, stared blankly with their mouths wide open, and their eyes became fanatical. The beautiful and arrogant girl was the Ashima in their dreams. There was a very famous movie called Ashima in the 1960s. The heroine was very beautiful and was the dream lover of many boys. At that time, Tang Nianyan glanced at them indifferently and then strode towards Tang Liujin. "Second sister, why are you here?" Tang Liujin breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Tang Nianyan with some suspicion. It felt like the second sister had changed a lot. The second sister used to be very beautiful, but not as lively as she is now. The second sister now is very beautiful, arrogant, and cold. It's like she can kill a tiger at any time. On the way, one Tang Nianyan handed over the egg cake and peach cake, thought about it, and took out 10 yuan from her pocket and stuffed it into Tang Liujin's pocket. Although Mrs. Tang paid for her granddaughter to go to high school, she would not give her more money. Tang Liujin went home once a month, carrying a bag of grain and a can of steamed pickled mustard greens, which was her food for a month. Steamed pickled mustard greens did not have any meat, and it was very good to put some lard and sugar in them. An enamel cup of pickled mustard greens would last for a month, but Tang Manin and Tang Menyong would give their niece some money privately, so that Tang Liujin could get some food in the cafeteria. But seeing that the girl looked pale and was so thin that she could fall down in the wind, it was obvious that she was not living well. "I don't want it." Tang Liujin didn't want it. Since she was a child, her second sister had been the best in the family, and her pocket money was more than theirs. She was jealous when she was young, and she often quarreled with her second sister because of this. Once, She quarreled so hard that she pushed her second sister down the hillside and broke her hand. Grandpa beat her and scolded her for being heartless. Later, her grandfather told her a lot, saying that her second sister's parents gave the family a lot of money and food coupons. At that time, everyone in the family was almost starving to death. Her second sister died in her stomach because she had no food to eat. That money saved the lives of the whole family. Grandpa also said to her, "People should have conscience. If it weren't for the money given by Nian Nian's parents, your mother would not have survived, and you would have no chance to be a human being. Our family owes Nian Nian." In fact, Tang Lujin didn't understand it very well at the time, but later when she went to school in the city and heard more things, she knew how many people starved to death that year, and many of her classmates' families had starved to death. She really understood what her grandfather said. Their Tang family really owed the second sister, and it was right to be good to the second sister. Take it if it's given to you. Tang Nian forcefully stuffed it into Tang Liujin's pocket and took out an enamel cup from the backpack, in which she put some rabbit meat from lunch, and then took out a bag of rice, weighing about 20 kilograms. Tang Liujin's eyes widened, and he felt like he was dreaming. Was his second sister robbing the granary? My classmate has a connection, and the rabbits were caught in the mountains. Tang Nian explained perfunctorily, feeling a little awkward. She was a person without conscience, but she had been doing good things recently, and her image was about to collapse. Second sister, can you hunt? Tang Lujin was even more surprised. In his impression, his second sister could not do any work, but she could actually hunt?
Yeah.
Tang Nian was too lazy to explain anymore and stuffed the things in her head and said, "Help me get some study materials. I need to review." Okay. Tang Lujin agreed. Lujin, your sister is here to see you. Several female classmates came over and looked at Tang Nian curiously. Yeah, she brought me something. Tang Lujin said in a light tone. She was a little introverted, but very opinionated and didn't interact much with classmates. Because most of the class were from the city, basically from dual-income families with good conditions, she was from the countryside and couldn't play with them. Hello, sister. Your hair is so beautifully. A female classmate with fair skin was very interested in Tang Nian's high ponytail. This female classmate wore a red and black plaid coat, a red scarf, a watch on her wrist, corduroy pants, and cowhide shoes. This outfit cost more than 200 yuan, and the watch alone cost 150 or 160 yuan. I just tied it casually. Tang Nian didn't like socializing, didn't show much enthusiasm to this female classmate, and was ready to leave. Second sister, I'll take you out. No need. Tang Nian's tone was stiff. She was not used to the deep sisterly love. She pushed Tang Lujin back and strode away.
Tang Lujin sợ mày.
Second sister really changed a lot. She liked the second sister now more. But how could the second sister suddenly become so rich? It must not be given by grandma. The old lady was not so generous. At most, she gave a dime or two. Hao Yuhua was a little unhappy. Her mother was the director of the supply and marketing cooperative, and her father was a cadre in the cotton mill. Her family was considered well off in the city. All the classmates in the class fawned on her. Tang Lujin was from the countryside, and her sister was also a rural girl. Why were they so arrogant? Tang Lujin, your sister has a really bad temper, Hao Yuhua said unhappily. Well, she has had a bad temper since she was a child. Tang Lujin's tone was very sincere, and that was the fact. The second sister was spoiled by her grandfather since she was a child, so it was normal for her to have a bad temper, but the second sister never bullied others. She just had a little temper. Hao Yuhua choked and sank her face. There was a ball of fire in her chest. She wanted to curse, but didn't know what to curse. Tang Lujin carried the things and left. With this bag of rice, she could eat better this month, and she could also get a portion of meat and vegetables in the cafeteria. Yuhua, don't pay attention to them. What's so great about rural people? They have to go back to farming after graduation. Another female classmate said in a fawning tone. They are exhausted. My parents said that after I graduate, I can choose between the supply and marketing cooperative and the cotton mill. My sister has been arranged to go to the cotton mill. There will be a recruitment exam next week. My sister will definitely pass the exam. How Yuhua snorted. She is the youngest in the family. She has an older brother and an older sister.
Her brother is in the army.
Her sister graduated from high school last year and has been unemployed at home for half a year. Her father arranged for her to go to the cotton mill. It is called a recruitment exam, but in fact the position has been determined long ago. As long as her sister takes the exam, she will pass. The other female classmates said a lot of flattering words to make Hao Yuhua happy. Forgetting the previous unpleasantness, several female classmates went to play badminton together. Tang Yanyan came out from behind a tree. She didn't go far. She hid behind the tree to see if Hao Yuhua would bully Tang Lujin. Fortunately, Lujin was very competitive and she didn't need to do anything. And she also heard good news. The cotton mill will recruit workers next week. Although it is a random job, the cotton mill will definitely recruit at least one fair and just job to show fairness and justice. This kind of thing had happened to her in her previous life. When she just graduated, she was ambitious and felt that with her strong ability as a 985 university, she must go to a company with good benefits, high salary, and easy work, such as the electric smoke industry. It happened that when she graduated, she ran into a tobacco company recruiting for 3 positions. There were no big requirements for academic qualifications and majors, and they only said that real ability was required. Tang Yanyan felt that this was a position tailor-made for her. She had the ability and academic qualifications, and she would definitely pass the exam. So she took the recruitment exam with full confidence. She felt good about herself in the written test and interview. She even felt that if the tobacco company did not recruit her, it would be a blind eye. But half a month later, she saw the announcement. Her name was not on the list of the 3 people selected. Moreover, she remembered that the academic qualifications and abilities of these 3 people were not as good as hers. She did not know about the interview, but their written test scores were definitely not as high as hers. Tang Yanyan was very dissatisfied and wanted to go to the company to argue. Her classmates persuaded her and explained to her earnestly the origin of the radish post. This was also the first time Tang Yanyan was beaten by society. After that, she went to work in a state-owned enterprise and had a clearer understanding of the radish post. A relative of a certain leader was to be arranged to come in. The children of a leader of a brother unit were not easy to develop in their own family. 2 units exchanged children, and there was also a lover of a big boss. All kinds of backgrounds, anyway, they were all candidates for the radish post. As long as someone wanted to come in, a recruitment exam would be arranged, but in order to avoid gossip, 1 or 2 talents would be selected. As for who would be selected, it would depend on luck. The radish post in the cotton mill must be the same. Tang Yanyan wanted to take the exam. She felt that the written test and interview were no problem, but it was hard to say whether she could be selected. Anyway, she tried it. Maybe she would be selected by luck. She didn't plan to work in the cotton mill. Now the formal worker positions can be bought and sold, and the cotton mill is a very popular unit. A formal worker quota can be sold for at least 700 or 800 yuan. If she passed the exam, she would sell it. There are 2 cotton mills in Zhucheng, one in the west and one in the east. After Tang Yanyan left number 1 middle school, she went to the mill in the west first. There was no recruitment notice posted at the factory gate. She walked to the guardroom and knocked on the window. The old man opened the window with a dark complexion, but after seeing the cigarette in Tang Yanyan's hand, his attitude changed 180 degrees, and he asked kindly, "What's the matter?" "Uncle, I'm from the Power Supply Bureau. My dad told me last time that the cotton mill will have a recruitment exam next week. I forgot the exact date, and I didn't dare to ask my dad. He would definitely scold me." Tang Yanyan still had a blank expression on her face. She didn't look like a timid girl who was afraid of being scolded by her father, but it didn't matter. The red double happiness cigarettes in her hand were very prestigious, and the old man had no doubts. "Girl, you must have made a mistake. Our factory doesn't have a recruitment exam. Is it the second factory?" The old man looked suspicious. Why didn't he know that the factory would have a recruitment exam? "Oh, I remember now. My dad was talking about the second factory. Thank you, uncle." Tang Yanyan turned and left. The factory that was recruiting workers must be the second factory in the east of the city. The uncle sniffed the cigarette with a smile, thinking that he had taken a great advantage, but he did not doubt Tang Niannian's words. This girl worked in the Power Supply Bureau. It was difficult to arrange a job for her in her own company, so she was arranged to go to the cotton mill. There were many such things. Recruitment exams like this are just for show. It doesn't matter whether you do well in the exam or not. The key is to make sure that your name on the exam paper is not written wrong. Tang Niannian rode her bike to the second factory in the east of the city. Following the same routine, she gave the security guard a cigarette and found out the time for the recruitment exam. Next Wednesday morning at 9:30. Don't forget it, girl. The old man kindly reminded her. He thought the same as the old man at the first factory, thinking that Tang Niannian was arranged by the Power Bureau. Thank you, old man. Tang Niannian took out her small notebook and wrote it down very solemnly. Next Wednesday morning at 9:30, the exam. She had a good memory, but she would write down important things in her notebook and take it out every day to check it so as not to miss anything. A good memory is not as good as a bad pen. This sentence she regarded as a treasure. Today is Friday, and there are still 5 days before the recruitment exam. If she can pass the exam, she will take out a bicycle from the space, and if the villagers ask, she can explain that it is the money she earned from selling her job. It was getting dark, and Tang Niannian returned to the machinery factory. It was time to get off work, so she went straight back to the dormitory building. Second Aunt Xian Jinju had already returned, and was cooking in the corridor. Niannian is back? We can eat soon. Xian Jinju is a little short, with fair skin and is pretty. The Tang family was well off back then, and Tang Manning even went to junior high school. He is tall and handsome. Such conditions are quite good in the countryside, so he could marry Xian Jinju. Second sister. A lively and beautiful girl ran out of the room. It was Tang Dandan. She looked a lot like her mother, but she was taller and more lively. Here. Tang Niannian took out a bag of peach cakes, about 1 pound, and stuffed it into the girl's pocket. Wow, peach cakes, second sister. You are so nice. Tang Dandan was very happy. She hadn't eaten peach cakes for a long time. Last month, her father bought 2 pounds of peach cakes, and she thought she could eat a piece, but her father gave them all away, and she didn't even get a little bit. Niannian, don't spend money recklessly. Xian Jinju couldn't help it. She bought rice and cloth, and now peach cakes. Even Jin Shan couldn't stand spending money like this. She heard from her husband about her niece and Qi Guohua's divorce. Although the Qi family paid 100 yuan in compensation, they couldn't spend it like that. Besides, it would have a bad impact on her reputation if the girl broke off the engagement. She was really worried about her niece's marriage. It wasn't wasted. Tang Niannian corrected her. How could it be considered wasted money if it was eaten? It was a necessary consumption in life. Tang Dandan dragged her into the house and whispered, "For my parents, buying food for others is a serious matter, and eating it at home is a waste. They are stupid." Tang Niannian said matter-of-factly. It's really stupid that all the good things went into other people's stomachs. Tang Dandan nodded vigorously, yes. So stupid. Since she could remember, all the good things in the house were taken out by her parents as gifts, and she and her brother didn't eat a single bite. In the evening, Xian Jinju cooked rabbit meat and steamed rice. Tang Manning also got a portion of braised hairtail from the canteen. During the meal, Tang Niannian mentioned the cloth again. Second aunt used that cloth to make clothes for Dandan. She didn't care who Tang Manning and his wife wanted to give gifts to, but she had to ensure that the things she gave would be used on her cousin. Xian Jinju looked a little embarrassed. She wanted to give the cloth to the workshop director to see if she could get a permanent job. Why should Dandan wear such good clothes? She has enough clothes. Xian Jinju didn't want to waste such good cloth. Tang Dandan pouted unhappily. It was like this again. Every time, her parents had countless reasons to take the good things out of the house. They would rather give them to outsiders than to her. Tang Dandan really couldn't figure it out. What was the point of giving gifts? Her parents had been giving gifts for 5 years, but the family had not changed. Instead, their life became more and more tight. "Mom, my clothes are too small." Tang Dandan grumbled in a low voice, but Xian Jinju glared at her. She dared not say anything. lowered her head to eat, and took a few pieces of meat. The new clothes would definitely not fit her, so she had to eat more meat. I gave it to Dandan. If the new clothes are not worn by Dandan, I won't take them next time. Tang Nianyan's tone was a little cold, and Xian Jinju and Tang Manin felt a chill on their backs. Just now, this niece seemed to exude a murderous aura, which was once on the old man, and they were so suppressed that they couldn't even open their mouths. Although the couple was unhappy, they didn't dare to refute, so they had to agree to make new clothes for Tang Dandan. Tang Dandan looked at her second sister in worship. It had to be her second sister. She controlled her parents with just one sentence. From now on, her second sister will be her hero. At the dinner table, Xian Jinju started to complain while eating. A regular worker stole socks, and the director saw it but didn't say anything. Today I wanted to take a pair home, but the director told me off. Don't take them anymore. It's not worth losing your job for a pair of socks. Tang Manin advised. I give gifts every year, but I don't know when I can get a permanent job. Xian Jinju bit her tongue hard. She really didn't want to be a temporary worker anymore. Not only did she have to endure the humiliation, but she also did the hardest and most tiring work, but her salary was only half of that of others. Every month when she received her salary, she felt worse than being fried in oil. I'll never get a permanent job. Tang Yanyan couldn't help but say. At least in the books, Tang Manin and his wife never got a permanent job until they died. Yanyan, don't talk nonsense. The director promised that I would get a permanent job first. Xian Jinju was unhappy. She felt that she would get a permanent job this year. After all, she had given so many gifts. That was what they said last year. Tang Dandan retorted, and then her mother hit her on the head with chopsticks. The little girl made a face at Tang Nianyan. That was what they said the year before last. Tang Nianyan added another stab. The couple was a little clever, but not much. There was a way to give gifts. Giving gifts blindly, like this, was just a waste of money. It would be useless even if you gave them for a lifetime. Xian Jinju couldn't hold her face anymore. She wanted to refute, but she was speechless. It was indeed the case. The workshop director said this to her every year, but she was never promoted to a regular employee. The couple exchanged helpless looks. They knew that the hope was slim, but they still had to give gifts, otherwise there would be no hope at all. We're also doing this for Dongqiang and Dandan. As long as they have a regular employee, they can take over the job in the future and don't have to worry about finding a partner. Tang Manin sighed, worrying him to death. He thought so. No matter who of them got a permanent job, the job would be left to their son. They would go back to the countryside to farm. Their son would have a stable job and would be able to stay in the city and eat commercial grain in the future. As for their daughter Tang Dandan, she would get married in the future, so there was no need to think too much about it. Tang Dandan curled her lips. Her father's words sounded nice, but she could think with her feet that even if she got a permanent job, it would not be her turn, but her brother's. However, she was lucky. Although her parents were a bit biased towards boys, it was not serious. At least they paid for her to go to school and provided her with food and drink. Unlike her elementary school classmate, who did not even finish elementary school and was married off by her parents at the age of 16 in order to exchange a dowry for her brother to marry a wife. Her classmate started school late and only started the first grade at the age of 12. She dropped out of school in the third grade. During the Chinese New Year, she saw this classmate. She was only 18 years old, but she looked as old as her mother. Her hands were covered with calluses, and there were injuries on her body. It was said that her husband beat her. Tang Dandan sometimes complained that her parents were partial to her, but when she thought of the tragic experience of this classmate, she felt lucky. Uncle, how much does a regular job in a cotton mill cost? Tang Yanyan asked. Why are you asking this? Tang Manin didn't even raise her eyelids. The cotton mill was a good company, but who would sell their current position? They weren't stupid. Just asking, how much can an office job sell for? Tang Yanyan learned this from the security guard at the second factory. There were 2 positions in total for this recruitment, both of which were office jobs. Office jobs are golden rice bowls. They sell for at least 800, and no one wants such a good job. Tang Manin thought his niece wanted to buy a job, so he tried to persuade her. He thought his niece was daydreaming. Office jobs depend on connections, or you have to rely on real ability to get in, but there are not many who are selected fairly. He has been in the city for 5 years and has seen this reality a long time ago. I'm just asking. Tang Nianyan knew what was going on, so he changed the subject and asked about the batch of parts. The shipyard wants it, and it requires high precision, so it was given to several machinery factories. We, Hongxing and Qianjin, have tasks to do, and we have to deliver by the end of the month. The machine tools can only do rough processing, and finally Master has to do manual processing, so the speed can't be fast. Tang Munin's tone was very envious, because Master would get a bonus of at least 100 yuan after processing this batch of parts. Unfortunately, he didn't have this ability, so he could only be jealous. Qianjin CA and speed up either? Xian Zhenju asked. They are all level 6, not much better. Tang Manin sneered, with a disdainful tone. He added, the factory director found a group of people in the workshop to try, and only Master can process it. If I had this ability, I could earn a bonus of 100 yuan. So high? This batch of parts is very important? Xian Zhenju was shocked. Her monthly salary was only a dozen yuan, and 100 yuan was her salary for most of half a year. Tang Mani nodded. It's a particularly important part. Unfortunately, only Master can earn this bonus. The factory director wishes Master could become like Sun Wukong, with 3 heads and 6 arms, and work overtime to deliver the goods before Qianjin. Qianjin and Hongxing have always been competing with each other. If Qianjin sends Frozen Hairtail, Hongxing will definitely follow suit, and will never fall behind Qianjin. Director Hongxing now wants to win Qianjin and encourages Master every day, but Master is willing but unable. He only has 2 hands and is old, so he really can't speed up. Qianjin's 6th level fitter is younger. I heard that the progress is very fast. This is the rumor released by Director Qianjin. Director Hongxing can't sit still and can't eat. Tang Manin told everything, and Tang Nianyan had an idea. She would go to the city again tomorrow to discuss a business with Director Hongxing. The clock struck 6:30. Second uncle, second aunt, I'm going out for a while. Tang Nianyan was going to the grove in the west of the city and had to take out the cloth in the space. What are you doing out so late at night, girl? Where are you going? I'll go with you. Tang Manin stood up, worried about his niece going out alone. The city has been in turmoil recently. A few girls got into trouble before the new year. It was said that they were bullied by hooligans, which made people panic. The hooligans were not caught, and young girls dared not go out at night. I'm going to the west of the city to do some work. Tang Nianyan emphasized that she was very good at fighting and had great strength, but Tang Manin didn't believe it and insisted on following her. Otherwise, he would not let her go out. Helplessly, she had to take this tale with her, and the uncle and nephew rode to the west of the city. The west of the city was a little dark at night, especially near the grove. There were no streetlights, and it was pitch black. Nianyan, what are you doing here? Tang Manin felt panicked. It was so dark. Why did his niece come here? It's important. Second uncle, wait for me here. Tang Nianyan didn't let Tang Manin go into the woods, and asked him to go outside for some fresh air. In order to prove that she was really powerful, she lifted Tang Manin up and spun him around a few times.
Put him down quickly, oh.
I'm going to the meat I ate last night. Tang Manin felt dizzy from spinning around and wanted to, but he held it back. It was a pity too after finally eating meat, and he couldn't bear it. However, he did believe that his niece was very strong, so he agreed to let her go into the woods alone. Call me if you have any problems, Nian Nian. What are you doing? Don't do anything illegal. Tang Manin was very worried and reminded him again and again. It's not illegal. Tang Nianyan assured that she was just selling some cloth, and it would be a legitimate business in 2 years, and it was indeed not illegal. Tang Manin was relieved, because his niece had never lied since she was a child, and she should not have lied to him. But he didn't know that his niece's heart had changed. Tang Nianyan entered the woods. It was dark and deserted. She found an open space and released Bai Sui from her space. She had put Bai Sui into her space when she entered the city and had never released him. After drinking the spiritual spring, Bai Sui's IQ had improved significantly and his personality was more stable than before. He walked around with an elegant wolf step and nodded to Tang Nianyan, indicating that it was safe. Tang Nianyan took out a truck of cloth from her space, which was loaded with 100 pieces of cloth. She looked at her watch, which was also from her space. It was almost 7:30. Several lights flashed outside the woods. Tang Nianyan hid in fear. He just saw the face of a leader clearly. There was a long scar on his face. He didn't look like a good person. He was very worried about his niece inside. After hesitating for a few minutes, he found a stick and prepared to go in to save his niece. But he heard voices from inside. "The goods are all here, Dian Dian." It was his niece who was talking, and her tone was very cold. Tang Nianyan realized that his niece used to talk to him very gently. "Mina, 100 horses for sure." His men counted them and found that the quality and quantity were all fine. Mina was very satisfied and took out a pile of money, food coupons, and a box. 5,000 in cash, 500 kilograms of food coupons, and 100 kilograms of meat coupons, with dates of recent and distant times, and these things, take a look. Mina opened the box, and jewels and precious stones overflowed. There were gold, silver, jade, and jade pendants inside, but the quality was not very good. Although these things would be worth a lot of money in the future, they are not valuable now, and it is obvious that Mina's sincerity is not enough. 500 kilograms of food coupons and 100 kilograms of meat coupons, according to the current black market price, are worth at most 150. Mina wants to use these things to exchange for 1,000 yuan? Do you think I am stupid or blind? Tang Nianyan sneered, confiscated the box, and stuffed the money back. Such a small amount of defective goods, wanting to exchange her for 1,000 yuan. Daydreaming. How do you talk to Beige? Little girl, don't be too greedy. This batch of cloth of yours is in Jucheng, and only Beige dares to accept it. What else do you want to pick? Another man scolded fiercely. Beige smiled slightly and did not stop his men. He and his men just looked around, and there was no one, only this little girl. He did not rob the thugs, which was already a kind heart of a bodhisattva. Tang Nianyan, who was hiding behind a big tree, was trembling with fear and sweating. He secretly cursed Tang Nianyan for causing trouble and being so bold as to provoke these gangsters. He wanted to go over to support his niece, but he was afraid that he could not win. He wanted to go out to call for support, but he did not dare to move, and his legs were weak. Beige, do you want to rob the thugs? Tang Nianyan asked coldly. Little girl, you are alone. If I wanted to rob you, I wouldn't have brought these things. You should know the times. Just take what I give you, and don't think about anything else. We can still do business well in the future. Mina said with an experienced tone, wanting to teach Tang Nianyan how to be a man. He felt that he was really compassionate. If it were a few years ago, he would never show mercy. Now that he is old and has a son, he has restrained himself a lot more than before and wants to accumulate some virtue for his son. Tang Nianyan was too lazy to talk nonsense. She grabbed Mina's collar with one hand, lifted him up, and spun him 18 times in the air. Everyone else was dumbfounded. What kind of strong man is this? A group of people surrounded Tang Nianyan, but they didn't dare to act rashly, because Mina was in her hands. Don't mess around. This is my Mina's territory. Someone warned. Tang Nianyan sneered and threw Mina out with one hand. She weighed 100 kilograms, but at least 99 kilograms were rebellious. She was not allowed to mess around, but she wanted to mess around. Xiao the starling flew out lightly, like a kite with a broken string. His men all raised their heads and followed his body until there was a sound of hitting the ground in the distance. The ground also trembled, and there was the muffled groan of the starling. Everyone was silent. Their backs were also cold. None of them present had the ability to throw the starling out. This pretty girl looked thin, but she was stronger than a bear. Tang Nianyan, who was hiding behind a tree, was also dumbfounded. He rubbed his eyes hard a few times. He must have seen things just now. His niece was obviously Lin Daiyu. How could she become Zhu Beiji? His eyes were rubbed red, and the scene in front of him did not change at all. There was also the intermittent groaning of the starling from a distance. Remember, where the ant is, the ant has the final say. Tang Nianyan's voice was colder than ice and got into everyone's ears. Everyone shuddered at the same time and felt fear. I was wrong. I thought she was a little girl who was easy to bully, but who knew she was a female demon? Go. Get her back. Tang Nianyan shouted. His men ran over obediently and carried the starling that fell on the grass back. The starling was not seriously injured. Tang Nianyan specially chose the landing site. The weeds cushioned a lot of the impact when it landed, and it landed on the tip of its buttocks, so it didn't have many flesh injuries. He just couldn't save his face. He was shy in front of his brothers, so he lowered his head and looked like he was seriously injured. Originally, it was 6,120 yuan in cash. After deducting 500 kilograms of food coupons and 100 kilograms of meat coupons, you still have to give me 6,000. Are you giving me money or things? Tang Nianyan asked coldly. 100 pieces of cloth were 9,000 feet, and 1 foot was 6.8 cents, a total of 6,120 yuan. She knew the prices of food coupons and meat coupons on the black market very well. After rounding it off, she had to give her 6,000 yuan anyway. Give me money. Beige answered very straightforwardly. He had been in the martial arts world for so many years, and the life-saving rule he learned was that he must know the current situation. He also remembered a sentence that his predecessor taught him when he first entered the martial arts world. When you see these 4 types of people, you must avoid them. Beautiful women, the elderly, children, and the disabled. These 4 types of people seem very weak, but they dare to walk alone in the martial arts world. Obviously, they must have a killer skill. Beige used to keep in mind the teachings of his predecessors. In recent years, he has been smooth sailing and has sat in a high position. He is a little arrogant. Beige wiped the cold sweat from his forehead hard, and his back was all wet. His autumn clothes stuck to his back coldly, and his whole body was cold, reminding him not to be arrogant. He took out a stack of money from his briefcase, counted 100 big unity notes, and gave them all to Tang Nianyan together with the box before. These things are worthless. I am honoring you. Beige smiled and was very respectful, completely different from his previous domineering. Tang Nianyan snorted and accepted the gift without hesitation. Although it was some gold, silver, and jewelry that were not in good condition, they could be worth a house in the future, so she didn't think it was too little. Wear a more polished look in the future. Tang Nianyan deliberately said some underworld jargon, and Beige's heart trembled, and he became more afraid. This beautiful girl is indeed an old underworlder. Maybe she is from the Axe Gang in Shanghai. He used to be in the Axe Gang, but he was just a small fry. After the liberation, the Axe Gang was disbanded, and he also returned to his hometown Zhucheng. But he heard that the Axe Gang was still there, just scattered in the dark, and there were Axe Gang members from all walks of life. This beautiful girl might be the descendant of the leader of the Axe Gang. Girl, if you have good things in the future, just come to me. You don't have to go to the black market, just go to this address. Beige said an address, which was his permanent residence and was safer. He saw that Tang Nianyan definitely had more than 100 pieces of cloth in her hands, and there must be good things. Let's talk about it later. Tang Nianyan did not agree, nor did she refuse. Beige was a good person. Although he had a bad heart, he was not completely bad and was not very courageous. They could still cooperate in the future. But she had to keep him in suspense first and could not agree too readily. Beige did not dare to say much. He took his men to move the cloth. They brought several carts and quickly took away 100 pieces of cloth. Miss, do you have this kind of truck? Beige envied the truck that Tang Nianyan drove. It was brand new and so impressive. Not for now. Tang Nianyan left some room. She had more than 10 retro trucks in her space, which she certainly could not take out now. Some of the parts were from later generations, and she had to modify them before she dared to take them out. Miss, if you have the goods, you must find me. I will give you a sincere price. Beige's eyes lit up. From the tone of his voice, he was sure that he could get the goods. Let's talk about it later. Tang Nian replied indifferently, with a little impatient expression, but Beige didn't dare to get angry, and even felt that this was natural. Tang Nian's attitude was too good, so he would still doubt it. Beige led his men away and disappeared into the night soon. Tang Nian glanced at the big tree where his second uncle was hiding, drove the truck to a distance and put it into the space, and Bai Sui followed him in. Bai Sui, you have nothing to do. Plant these seeds. Tang Nian bought some corn and wheat seeds at the seed station during the day. The soil in the space is fertile, and you can just dig a hole and water it to make it alive. Bai Sui can definitely do this job.
Woof.
I won't do it. Bai Sui's cursing voice came from the space. Tang Nian ignored it. After coming out, he used his mind to patrol the space, and his mouth corners rose. The old man Bai Sui was digging holes with a grunt and put a seed in each hole, and then took a small bucket to fetch water from the pond. He worked quickly and well. Bai Sui is awesome.
Dan mi anian please. Woof.
Get lost. The answer was the barking of Bai Sui. Tang Nian was not angry at all. It was normal for people who worked to get angry. She couldn't get away with it. Tang Manning waited behind the tree for a long time, but her niece didn't come back. She had to bite the bullet and go to the forest to look for her. Every time she took a step, she had to stop and look around. She always felt that there was someone behind her. There was a sound behind her, like footsteps, but not like human. People don't walk so lightly. Tang Manin's hair stood up all over his body. His hair stood up without wind. He stood straight, dared not move. If not a human, what else could it be? Oh my God. Tang Manin wanted to run, but his feet were weak and he couldn't move even a centimeter. There was a hand patting his shoulder. Tang Manin jumped 3 feet high and ran away. The soles of his shoes were smoking. Tang Nian was stunned. Is it really that serious? Uncle, the money has fallen. Tang Nian shouted, and Tang Manin immediately braked, and even braked on his face, because he fell down, face first. Tang Manin was extremely ashamed and angry. He glared at his niece with gnashing teeth. His face was burning with pain, half from scratches and half from anger. Can't you make a little noise when you walk in the middle of the night? Are you floating on the water? The uncle and niece had already left the grove and reached a bright place. Tang Manin's courage immediately grew, and he dared to teach his niece a lesson. How could I know you were so timid? No wonder Grandma said, you are not much better than a chicken. Tang Nian rolled her eyes. It was obviously her timidity. Poor students had more stationery and more excuses for being timid. Your grandma talks nonsense all day long. Don't listen to her farts. Tang Manin rubbed his face hard and hissed. It hurt him so much. Tang Nian ignored him and rode his bike back to Tang Village. Wait a minute, where did you get those cloths? Tang Manin stopped and asked in a low voice, his heart beating very fast. This is speculation. The dead girl is too bold. My classmate got it, uncle. Don't ask too many questions. Tang Nian thought for a moment, took out 10 yuan from his pocket and stuffed it into his uncle's pocket as a hush money. What does your classmate do? How come he is so capable? Tang Manin's heartbeat dropped a lot because of the 10 yuan. He is now increasingly unable to see through his niece. His strength has suddenly increased and his abilities have also increased a lot. It's easy to know too many secrets. Tang Nian scratched his neck and glanced at him coldly. Tang Manin's hair, which had just fallen down, stood up again without wind. He quickly touched the warm 10 yuan in his pocket and felt more at ease. Nian, when did you become so strong? Why haven't I seen such capable classmates like you before? I have always had, but I'm too lazy to talk. Tang Nian didn't want to talk nonsense anymore, so she got on her bike and left. Tang Manin gritted his teeth, muttered a few words of complaint, and hurriedly rode his bike to catch up. Seeing that his niece was not going back to the machinery factory, he hurriedly shouted, Where are you going so late? Back to the village. Why are you going back in the dark? Come back to the factory with me. Tang Manin shouted angrily. What if something happened to his beautiful niece on the way? It's crowded, you can't beat me. Tang Nian would never say 2 words if she could only say 1. It was too tiring to say too much. Tang Manning magically understood, and his mouth twitched. The girl thought his house was too crowded. He didn't call anyone else. The scene of his niece swinging the starling around for 18 times was replayed in front of him like a movie. There were probably not many people in Jucheng who could beat this girl. Come back tomorrow, I have something important. Tang Nianyan's voice came over. What's the matter? Tang Manning chased after him to ask, but his niece was nowhere to be seen. He was so angry that he kept scolding on the spot. You are so picky when you speak. You little. I hate people who don't speak in full. What a shameless person. Tang Manning rode back to the machinery factory with an itchy heart. When he was about to reach the dormitory building, he took out 10 yuan from his pocket and stuffed it under his socks. This was his private money, and his wife couldn't let her know. Tomorrow, when Nian Nian comes, he will ask her if there are any other good things. He has finally realized that this little is very capable, and he may have to rely on his niece to get a permanent job in the future. Where's Nian Nian? Xian Jinju came out to get the kettle, but didn't see his niece. Back to Tang village. Xian Jinju was stunned for a moment, and then she yelled angrily, Do you have maggots in your brain? It's so dark, and you let Nian Nian go back to Tang village alone? What if something happens? You are really getting less and less reliable as you get older. Go chase her. She was so angry that she threw away the kettle and took the flashlight to chase her. Tang Nianyan was so beautiful. What if she met a gangster on the way? Xian Jinju didn't dare to think about it. If something happened to Tang Nianyan, her mother-in-law would definitely not forgive her. Why are you in a hurry? Nian Nian is very capable. Just now on the road, there was a gangster who didn't have any eyes, and Nian Nian taught her a lesson. Tang Manning dragged his wife into the house and told her about his niece teaching the Mina bird a lesson, but he didn't mention the car cloth. He only said that it was a gangster who didn't have any eyes and had bad intentions when he saw Tang Nianyan's beauty. Is Nian Nian so capable? Why didn't I see it before? Xian Jinju was half believing and half doubting. This girl used to be incredibly lazy. She would never stand if she could lie down, and she couldn't carry anything on her shoulders or hands. She said she was too lazy to move. Tang Manning curled her lips. This reason was very Tang Nianyan. Her niece had been lazy since she was a child. Because of laziness, this girl didn't even eat glutinous rice. The reason was that she was too lazy to and wait for the glutinous rice to cool. Do you think this is human talk? His father was willing to spoil such a lazy girl. Who could he complain to? Xian Jinju twitched her lips and believed it completely, but she was still worried. No matter how capable she was just a girl. But now that everyone had gone far away, there was nothing she could do to worry about it. God bless her. Please don't let anything happen to her. Tang Nianyan turned a corner and went to the black market uncle's house. She took out 500 kilograms of rice and 300 kilograms of flour, piled them at the door, and knocked on the door hard. After a while, the door opened, and the uncle stuck his head out. When he saw her, the big stone in his heart fell to the ground, and he was glad that he had not made a mistake. Tang Nianyan held a bag in each hand and brought in 800 kilograms of food in a short while. Girl, I still have some things in my hand, the old man called her. He had food, and he wanted to exchange it for some nutritional supplements. He also felt that the things he had in his hand would be safer in the hands of this girl. I'll come to see you later. Tang Nianyan nodded, closed the door, and left. Old Mrs. Tang was almost dying of anxiety at home. After a while, she asked Tang Manjin to go to the village entrance to check. She also ran out to check several times. It was dark, and her granddaughter had not come back, and there was no phone call. When this dead girl comes back, I will beat her. Old Mrs. Tang went to the village entrance again to check, but there was no sign of anyone. She went back home while cursing. She didn't eat much for dinner, worried that something happened to Tang Nianyan. Big brother, go find your third uncle and call the second brother to ask if Nianyan is staying with him. Old Mrs. Tang couldn't sit still. Her granddaughter must go to the second brother when she came to the city. Maybe she is staying with the second brother. Hey! Tang Manjin agreed and took the flashlight out. There is a telephone in Tang Village in the village committee. It costs 20 cents to make a call. The phone is usually locked and the key is in the hands of the captain. I'll go with you. The old lady Tang was getting more and more anxious at home, so she decided to go with him. The dead girl didn't come back, and the greedy yellow dog was nowhere to be seen. No one knew where it ran away. The mother and son walked to the captain's house and heard voices from afar, which sounded like the voice of the captain's wife. Nian Nian, why are you back so late? Oh, why did you buy egg cakes? You are too polite. Don't do that in the future. The captain's wife was originally dissatisfied with the boss. She rode the bike out for a whole day and didn't know what a waste it was. But when she saw the bag of egg cakes handed over by Tang Nian Nian, she immediately smiled and quickly took the egg cakes with both hands. Third aunt, I have to go to the city tomorrow. Tang Nian Nian was a little overwhelmed. It was inconvenient for her to not have a car. She had to find a reason to make money legitimately so that she could take out the bicycle in the space and ride it. Nian Nian, why do you have to go to the city? Is there something? Well, my classmates said there is a recruitment exam and they need high school graduates. Tang Nian Nian blocked third aunt's mouth in advance. The captain's daughter only graduated from junior high school. Third aunt's eyes lit up at first, but they dimmed immediately. She was very regretful, but she didn't give up and asked again. Nian Nian, you know a lot of people. Are there any recruitment exams for junior high school graduates in the county? I have to ask. Tang Nian Nian didn't say. It was a sure thing. Although the iron rice bowl is now for everyone, there are dozens of state-owned factories of all sizes in Jucheng, and they recruit workers every year. There must be jobs for junior high school students. Nian Nian, please take care of it. If there is a suitable position for you, please tell me. Third aunt's eyes lit up again, and she looked at Tang Nian Nian with more kindness. Yes.
Tang Nian Nian thiplit in dai phơn.
If there was a suitable position, it would not be impossible to do the captain a favor. With this future job hanging in the balance, third aunt's attitude was particularly good, and she even let Tang Nian Nian ride the bike home and return it after the job was done. Old lady Tang listened to this for a few times and frowned. This girl was bragging without fear of hurting her waist. She was still floating in the sky, and she dared to make big promises to the mistress. The mistress was also stupid. There were so many people in the city, but only a few jobs. There were too many people and too few jobs. How could the rural people get a chance? She actually believed the nonsense of the girl. No wonder her daughter was also stupid. There were so many good young men, but she insisted on marrying a landlord's son. This stupid girl Hongmei will suffer a lot in the future. Ahem. Old lady Tang coughed heavily a few times and walked over with her eldest son. Second aunt, Manjin. The captain's wife greeted with a smile. Come and pick up Nian Nian. Old lady Tang nodded and glared at her granddaughter. She would teach this girl a lesson when she got home. Grandma, I'm leaving first. Tang Nian Nian got on the bike and rode away. Old lady Tang hurried behind with her short legs. When she returned home panting, Tang Jujin and Su Jinfeng were already happily eating egg cake. Second sister, the egg cake is delicious, and the peach cake is delicious too. Second sister, I love you so much. Little Jujin held the egg cake in one hand and the peach cake in the other. She took a bite of the egg cake and then another bite of the peach cake. At this moment, she was the happiest child in the world. Second sister is also her favorite sister. Tang Nian Nian patted the head gently. This girl was her favorite in the Tang family. She was as clean and simple as a blank sheet of paper. Buy more after you finish eating. Tang Nian Nian's tone was very generous. The current prices were too cheap. A pound of egg cake was 1.2 yuan, and a pound of peach cake was 1.5 yuan. She had just earned 6,000 yuan. Hey! Jujin was even happier. He ate the egg cake in one gulp and was about to take it again. Old lady Tang patted his chubby hand heavily. You have a yellow dog in your stomach. You just had a meal and you ate so much. It will all turn into tomorrow. Don't eat. Old Mrs. Tang was very distressed. There was no one in the whole Tang village who was more wasteful than Tang Nian Nian. The egg cake and peach cake on the table weighed at least 2 kilograms each, and 5 or 6 yuan were wasted again. This kind of snack is just to taste it. How can it be eaten as a meal? Life is not like this. You can't get poor by eating. Old Mrs. Tang muttered bitterly. You can't get poor by eating and wearing, but you can't get poor by calculating. Tang Nian blurted out and finished the words for the old lady. She was stunned and wanted to laugh a little because it was the instinctive reaction of this body. This sentence was what old Mrs. Tang had to say every day, and it was engraved in the blood of everyone in the Tang family. Puff Tang Jujin covered his mouth and laughed secretly, and Su Jinfeng and Tang Manjin also held back their laughter. Old Lady Tang was stunned for a moment, and was so angry that she waved her hand to hit him. A shining big unity appeared in front of her. Her anger immediately dissipated, and she quickly snatched the money. Where did you get it? I shot a few wild rabbits in the mountains. Tang Nian took out a wild rabbit and a pheasant from her backpack and threw them on the ground. Eat it tomorrow. We just ate it yesterday. How can we eat meat every meal? Landlord Xian's family didn't have the conditions before. Old Lady Tang objected. They had eaten a wild rabbit and a pheasant yesterday, which was enough oil and water. They had to wait at least half a month before eating meat. Eating meat every meal was the treatment of the emperor's family. The landlord Xian she was talking about was the landlord of Xian village next door, and it was also the family that the team leader's daughter Tang Hongxing was determined to marry. How glorious it was in the past, how miserable it is now. Landlord Xian died of illness a few years ago. His daughter got married, but his son became an older young man and no one dared to marry him. Then I won't hunt anymore. It's boring without meat. Tang Nian didn't refute and looked at old lady Tang expressionlessly. Under her cold eyes, Mrs. Tang did not hold out for long and soon gave up and agreed to cook meat tomorrow. Tang Jujin was the happiest, eating meat every day. She was the happiest child in the world. Grandma, let Jujin go to school in the summer. Tang Nian washed her feet, remembered something, and told Mrs.
Tang.
Tang Jujin was 7 years old. It was time for him to go to school. I know. Mrs. Tang responded unhappily. She had to let her granddaughter go to school even if the dead girl didn't say anything. The old man set the rule that the girls of the Tang family must go to school. How far they can go depends on their own ability. Anyway, the family will do their best to support them. The old man often said that reading can make you wise. No matter whether you are a man or a woman, you have to study. Reading may not necessarily get out of the countryside, but if you don't study, you will definitely not get out. Mrs. Tang herself can't read, but she has great respect for scholars, so she fully supports her husband's decision, and the whole family cuts down on food and clothing to support the children to go to school. Tang Jujin, who was happily eating peach cakes, immediately became unhappy. She didn't want to go to school at all. The school was closed every day, and she had to do homework. How could it be more fun than in the village? Tang Nian washed up and went to bed. She had a room by herself. There were 10 rooms in the Tang family. Tang Wujin also had one room by himself, and Tang Lujin and Jujin had one room. When Lujin didn't go home, Jujin lived alone. Second sister, I don't want to go to school. Tang Jujin sneaked in, lay on the bed, hugged Tang Nian's arm and acted like a spoiled child. Then don't think about eating meat in the future, and there will be no more egg cakes and peach cakes. Tang Nian threatened coldly, and Tang Jujin immediately wilted. The little head quickly weighed it. Going to school was bitter, eating meat was sweet, egg cakes were sweet, and peach cakes were sweeter. The little girl also compared her short little fingers. 1 against 3. I'm going to school. The little girl was honest. She wanted to eat meat, egg cakes, and peach cakes. Go to bed. Tang Nian's mouth was slightly raised, and she didn't feel embarrassed to bully children at all. She used to start school at the age of 7, and she never had a sweet life since then. Tang Jujin is so happy in the village every day. She can't bear to see this girl happy. The rain that she once got wet in must be arranged for this girl. After sleeping until dawn, Old Lady Tang cooked breakfast, soaked rice with rice cake, a plate of scrambled eggs with snow mustard, and stir-fried green vegetable moss with chicken oil. Such a rich breakfast could only be eaten in the first month of the year before. Old Lady Tang is actually not stingy in food, but reality forces her to be stingy. If there is surplus food at home, she is still very generous. Tang Mianyan brought home a bag of rice yesterday, which weighed more than 30 kilograms. She said there would be more next month, so Old Lady Tang immediately arranged it in the morning. There were 2 rice cakes in the soaked rice. Old Lady Tang gave one to her eldest son and one to Tang Mianyan, and everyone else ate the soaked rice. Su Jinfeng and Tang Jujin, who liked the delicious rice cakes, had no objection. Being able to eat soaked rice without sweet potatoes was already a well-off meal. "Grandma, I want to go to work, let me out," Tang Wujin shouted in the room. She had been locked up for 2 days, eating, drinking, defecating, and urinating in the room, and her spirit was worn out. She used to think that working was hard, but now she has been lying down for 2 days and misses working very much. Su Jinfeng wanted to plead for her daughter, but as soon as she opened her mouth, she was glared at by Mrs. Tang, and she was so scared that she swallowed her words. Anyway, she was just locked up in a room and didn't have to work. Wu Jin was enjoying herself. "Have you figured it out?" Mrs. Tang asked into the room. "I understand, Grandma. I won't marry He Guqing. I will listen to you in the future." Tang Wu Jin's tone sounded very well behaved, as if she had really changed her mind. Mrs. Tang's face relaxed. It would definitely not be good for her eldest granddaughter to be locked up all the time. She was also very distressed that she would earn 8 less jobs a day. He Guqing broke his leg on the farm. Tang Yanyan said suddenly. "What happened to him? Has he been sent to the hospital?" Tang Wujin asked again, and again with a distressed tone. "Mrs. Tang's face turned black as charcoal, and she put the key back into her pocket. "Stupid thing. He didn't think clearly at all, just keep it locked up. Don't even think about marrying an educated youth in this life. I'm telling you this. Even if you hang yourself in front of me, I won't agree." Old Lady Tang said harshly. "How many educated youth in the city are good matches? There are also stupid girls in other villages who marry educated youth because they are well-educated and good-looking, and the conditions in the city are good. But those educated youth later returned to the city and didn't care about their wives and children in the countryside. Those with a good conscience gave some money, but those with a bad conscience didn't give a penny. Although she didn't like her eldest granddaughter, she couldn't let this idiot jump into the fire pit, embarrass the people of the Tang family, and drag the Tang family down. Grandma, please let me go. I'll go see He Guqing, and I'll come back after seeing him. I promise not to meet him in the future. Please, Grandma. Tang Wujin begged with tears and kowtow. The more she made a fuss, the angrier old lady Tang became. She made such a fuss for a thief like educated youth. How could the Tang family produce such a useless thing? Big sister, I lied to you. Tang Nyanyan chewed the rice cake and said vaguely. He Guqing had just been sent to the farm. How could he break his legs? Tang Wujin's head was really eaten by maggots, and he didn't have any brains. There was no movement in the room. After a long time, Tang Wujin's curse was heard. Tang Nyanyan, are you still a human being? Is it fun to joke about such things? I just took a piece of your jade gourd. It was me who took it. It has nothing to do with He Guqing. If you have anything to say, come to me. Tang Wujin didn't like his second sister since he was a child. Obviously, she was the biological granddaughter, but Grandpa and Grandma treated Tang Nyanyan as their eyeballs. They gave Tang Nyanyan all the good things, and she could only wear Tang Nyanyan's leftovers. Tang Nyanyan could go to high school, but she could only go to junior high school. Tang Nyanyan had new clothes every year, but she could only wear Tang Nyanyan's old clothes. Tang Nyanyan didn't have to work, but she had to work since she could walk, and she had to work every day. She could tolerate all these, but why did Tang Nyanyan want to destroy the man she finally liked? Tang Nyanyan, you just can't bear to see me live a good life. You are just afraid that I will live better than you. You have been well-fed and well-dressed since you were a child. Now that Qi Guohua has broken off your engagement, you also want me to not marry He Guqing. Why are you so mean? Do you have a black heart? If my family hadn't raised you, you would have become a pile of rotten bones. Tang Wujin, who was so jealous that he was dizzy, said whatever he wanted and cursed out all the resentment he had for the past 19 years. Wujin, What nonsense are you talking about? Tang Manjin scolded. His honest face was frighteningly black. Su Jinfeng didn't dare to say anything. In fact, she was also very dissatisfied with her parents-in-law's doting on Tang Ninian. She also complained to Tang Wujin in private, but she never dared to say it openly. Wujin stopped talking. Su Jinfeng ran to the door and warned with gritted teeth. The mother-in-law's eyes were murderous. If Wujin continued to talk, she and her husband would not be able to save themselves. Tang Ninian didn't react, because it wasn't her that was being talked about. You are not allowed to talk about my second sister. You are the bad guy. You took my biscuits and candies and gave them to Little Glasses. You are so mean, and Little Glasses doesn't appreciate your kindness. Tang Jujin was so angry that his cheeks were puffed up, and he didn't even bother to eat the peach cakes. She hated her eldest sister the most. Tang Ninian's mouth corners slightly raised. It was not in vain that she loved this little girl. Old Lady Tang took out the key, opened the door with a dark face, and pushed it hard. Tang Wujin inside was shocked and stepped back in fear. Jujin is more sensible than you. Why do your grandfather and I spoil